Richmond International Raceway in Virginia, basking in beautiful sunshine on this Sunday. A venue fans love for its great side-by-side competition and ready to host a crucial race for the drivers looking to compete for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. That race was supposed to be run last night, but when the approach of Tropical Storm Hannah caused public safety concerns, officials were forced to postpone the races scheduled for Friday and Saturday nights here, setting up a rare same-day NASCAR doubleheader. When this race is done, just 12 drivers will be eligible for the championship. And while some of this season's dominant winners have already locked up their playoff spots, 7 drivers still compete for 5 remaining places in the chase for the Sprint Cup, adding intensity to the already boiling pot that is NASCAR short track racing.
At one point in every driver's life, there is a defining moment. In NASCAR, it's Richmond.
One word that describes the chase: drama.
Intense.
Intense.
Exciting.
Stressful.
Somebody talk to me!
Pressure.
What does it mean to make the chase?
It means the world. It's an opportunity to win a championship.
The chance of glory.
What does it mean if you don't make the chase?
Definitely disappointing.
It's a rough year.
Total disappointment.
What does it take to win the championship?
Determination.
Consistency. Teamwork.
Perfection.
What would it mean to win the championship?
All my dreams.
Everything you ever dreamed of.
Lifelong dream come true.
The championship's everything. It's all about the chase.
T-minus 10, 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, ignition.
ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown for race 26 of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series season. It's the Chevy Rock and Roll 400, today from the Richmond International Raceway in Richmond, Virginia. When NASCAR first created the Chase for the Cup format in 2004, it made this the last race of the regular season. That changed this day from just another event into a crucial one. The spotlight now not only on who wins the race, but on the drivers in that nerve-wracking fight to grab a spot in NASCAR's championship. Here are the standings in the championship entering the day. With qualifying rained out on Friday, all of these drivers start at the front of the field. The top 5 locked in already, 6 and 7 lock in by starting, but from 8 on down through 14, those 7 drivers race for 5 spots in the chase today. Clint Boyer and David Reagan so close together, could be a head-to-head race between them, and it'll be fun to watch throughout the afternoon. And our ESPN pit studio, standing tall, standing proud, ready to watch what should be a great race here in Richmond. We welcome you inside. I'm Alan Bestwick, joined by 6-time Richmond winner Rusty Wallace and NASCAR team owner Brad Daugherty. Where else can we start but with the Bubble Boys? Last in, first out, Clint Boyer, David Reagan. Who do you like today, and what are they going through right now?
Alan, first of all, they are going through agony right now. They probably didn't sleep at all last night. They're probably concerned so much about their cars, whether they're going to handle good, are they going to have a problem, what's going to go on. But the guy that I really like in this bubble scenario is definitely Clint Boyer. When I think about Clint Boyer, I think about short track racing. He's won here at Richmond before. He's won at Loudon, New Hampshire, another short track. He's won at Bristol. So I really think that Boyer's going to be able to hold on to the 12th position, Brad. He's looking really good right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think his experience is a big factor in this. But I'll tell you what, I saw David Reagan last night, and he has a little bit of that fire in his belly. On Friday, during the last practice, he was second quickest under similar situations or conditions. I think he's going to be a handful today, and that old Ford hot rod he's got will be toting the mail, baby.
I think it's going to be fun just to watch them go back and forth and track those standings all day long. Now, as far as the 2 drivers, what are they thinking before they start this pressure-packed 400 laps? For David Reagan, he's thinking, just win.
David Reagan hard into the wall in that AAA car. Reagan, who takes a hard hit.
Well, it's not going to be easy, but it'll be exciting, so stay tuned.
He continues to blossom as a young race car driver. He's going to be a superstar.
And David Reagan is the man currently on the outside looking in, 13th in the standings, just 17 points behind Clint Boyer. What's this like for you?
It's a lot of pressure, but we put a lot of pressure on our AAA team every week. Feel like we've got a good car. It's fast. Jimmy Finning and our AAA team's going to make the right calls in the pits. I got to do a good job on the racetrack, and we're going to have some fun today.
And the guy David Reagan's applying the pressure to, of course, Clint Boyer. He's 12th in the standings right now.
Clint Boyer's going to take it to the bank. He wins in Richmond.
We knew it all day, didn't we?
Boy, how things change in a hurry. Here's Clint Boyer in second place now.
Come on, low. Low, turn left, turn left, turn left.
And as fate would have it, Clint Boyer is riding around in a truck being introduced with David Reagan right over there. So they'll talk about this whole thing. Clint, how important looking back now was the win here in May, seeing where you are today?
Oh, it's, you know, you're only as good as your last race, though, and we did win here. But, you know, this is knowing that what I got to do going into a track, it is my favorite racetrack. It's a little bit of, you know, comfort there. But David and everybody, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be fun, you know. It's time to see what we're made out of.
And I know we'll get 400 laps to see that, Alan.
And the third man in that bubble scenario is Casey Kane, who starts the day a little bit farther back. Quickly, guys, any way you see this happening for him?
He could do it. He really could. He's so fast at this racetrack. Those guys have a problem. Hey, this cat could get in there, Brad.
Possibly. I mean, he'd have to win the race. Some people would have to fall out. It's going to be tough, but that's why they race.
So it's a NASCAR countdown, getting ready for the chase deciding race today at the Richmond International Raceway in Virginia. Who's in? Who's left out at the end of the day? These fans are here to see. A live look at Denny Hamlin at Richmond, one of the 4 drivers in 8th through 11th places in points starting today, who would appear to be in good shape to lock up a chase place. But what happened to Denny here back in May also shows us nothing's a sure thing until the checkered flag waves.
Denny Hamlin, who's led all but one caution flag lap tonight.
Nobody's in the same league with this cat.
Denny Hamlin has a flat tire, Mike. He just said they're going to get me. I've got a flat tire.
What a shame. A slow leak in the right front tire robs Denny Hamlin of victory. Bad news gets worse for stopping on track to draw the caution. NASCAR is going to park him for 2 laps.
Certainly, Denny Hamlin did have the dominant car here in May. How does the car you have here this weekend compare to the one you brought back then?
Well, it is a different car, but it's you know, what we think is newer, lighter, better. So we brought what was going to be on paper supposed to be a better race car. So we're going to see how it turns out, but we're here to win, not finish 5th. And I think if we came back with the same package, we probably wouldn't be competing for a win.
Now, because qualifying was rained out, all of the guys who are in the top 12, 13 in points are starting all around each other. Does that benefit you, being able to keep your eye on those guys at the start of the race?
It really didn't benefit us, but I definitely think that we would have been better by qualifying. We had a shot at the pole, I felt like, so I would have liked to have seen us qualified, but this way it doesn't work too bad. It kind of eliminates at least a bad pit box for us.
All right, and if you're a betting man, you might want to put your money on the 11. He's in the 11 car. He's starting 11th, and he is 11th in the point standings. Alan?
A little numerology for you there, Shannon. Thanks. Here are those 8th through 11th place drivers starting the race. For them, that point gap you see is what they're ahead of 13th. And after all, that's the name of the game for them today, is to finish ahead of 13th in points when this checkered flag waves. For them, this is still going to be a nerve-wracking day.
It will. It'll be nerve-wracking. But if you look at that lineup right there, you got 3 past champions, so they know how to handle this experience today. And I think they'll be smart, take care of their race cars, and get good finishes.
They've been here before. They know how to do it. There's just no doubt about that. And they know that this is a big race, guys. They can't screw up. They got to be aggressive, not too aggressive. Yeah. So I really expect those guys that have been in that hunt right there, we're looking on that graphic a little while ago, to be the guys that'll take care of the cars more than most.
Let's talk about the conditions they're going to be in throughout the afternoon. This is a short track race. They're going to be in rush hour traffic for 400 laps on this little bull ring.
Boy, you said the right thing right there. This is short track racing, and short track racing, man, when you're here at this particular racetrack, anything can happen. I mean, you can have crashes at the very end. You can crash here, you can crash there. All kind of things can happen. And another thing, guys, this is a great racetrack for payback. Yeah. Man, if you're mad at somebody, you get down to turn 1, little nudge right there, they'll hit the wall. Get down to turn 3, another little nudge will hit the wall. So if you're mad and you want to get even, baby, this is a joint to do it right here.
This is the perfect venue to come in right before the chase with everything going on, because it's a great racetrack for the fans, a lot of action. It's a a great one for the racers because there's a lot of room. But the thing is, the scenario, the denominator on a short track is those holes close quickly. So you got to make a decision. Are you aggressive or are you going to sit back and be a little bit passive?
Well, the shorter the track, the faster things happen.
That's right.
Rusty, you've been in this trying to make the chase situation here at this racetrack before. Put me inside the helmet. Somebody like Jeff Gordon today, starting the day, down there, 10th in points. Does he want to know where he's at in points throughout this race?
Oh, absolutely. You cannot give that driver enough information. You're constantly talking to him. Jeff, you're okay, or Rusty, you're okay, or whoever, you're okay, or you're not okay. Hey, you're racing this guy, or hey, you're racing that guy. You want all the information because as a driver, it just makes you feel comfortable. You can perform better.
Hoping to keep his pursuit of championship number 5 alive, Jeff Gordon starts 10th today.
Jeff Gordon has just been knocked out of his second race of 2008.
It's kind of been the way our season's gone. We can't get the car right.
I don't have to tell you guys, I'm having a sorry pit stop. Let's get it together.
I can't remember the last time we struggled this bad.
Well, all these drivers only had one practice session this weekend. It was on Friday. The fastest man right here, Jeff Gordon. So, Jeff, is this car good enough to get you in the chase today?
Well, I think it is. We had a great run on Friday, making a lot of race runs, and then we ended up being top of the board there on a qualifying run. We wish we would have gotten qualifying in. I think we could have been further up than 10th, but we're looking for a good day. Sun's shining. It's going to be a day race. We haven't run during the day here in a little while. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be slick, and certainly with all the rain we had, all the rubber's washed away. So these first 50 laps are going to be very interesting. But I think we got a great car and a great team to get ourselves solidly in the chase.
Well, now you have to race your way in, as we're talking about. How much will your experience come into play today?
I mean, experience is always key and can always help you, but you got to have the car. You got to have the pit stops, and I've got to get the most out of the car. And the experience is the part that can play out is making sure I don't put myself into bad positions, making sure that we bring this car home in one piece, because we do have a bit of a cushion, and so we just need to really not make any mistakes. But the biggest part that I want to come out of here with is just a great finish to go into New Hampshire with.
Well, another guy who needs a great finish and wants to solidify his spot in the chase, Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart will not go to victory lane.
They should have won some races this year. Looks like this 20 car definitely in trouble.
Stewart crashing for the second day in a row.
It's just been the oddest year I've ever seen for this race team.
And Tony Stewart in what appears to be a comfortable position. You only need to finish 36th or better to lock it up, but are you comfortable?
No, not till the checkered flag drops and they say whether we're in or not. So, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, and that's why anybody that's still mathematically in it still has a shot all the way till this thing's over today. So, but for us, it's more about just going out and worrying about doing what we do best, and that's trying to win with this Home Depot Toyota today at Richmond.
You've seen all kinds of different conditions here at the Richmond International Raceway. With the rain coming, a green racetrack, now being a day race instead of a night race. How do you expect this track to change?
Once it gets some rubber down, it'll tighten up a little bit. But other than that, it's not going to be any different than what it was on Friday when we had practice. So, you just got to go feel it out and make adjustments as the race goes on.
And certainly, Tony Stewart, one of the best drivers in the field record-wise, has 5 career wins here. 3 in the Cup Series, 2 in the trucks. Alan?
Michael, thank you. We'll keep an eye on Tony's progress and all the other drivers racing for a place in the chase here this afternoon. Now, to keep a driver informed on exactly where he stands during this pressure-packed day, a crew chief has an array of gadgets at his disposal. For more on that, let's go to our gadget guy over at the Chevy Cutaway Car and say hello to Tim Brewer. Tim?
The way I've dealt with pressure my whole career in racing is making sure everybody on the crew knows the game plan and how well we're going to execute it. What we're going to use a timing and scoring monitor right here, collecting lap times. This is our car. These are the competitors that we're racing today in order to get in the chase. Another thing we're doing, we're using the radios to communicate with our driver as well as monitoring the other drivers and the other crews we're racing, feeding our driver good information. We collect all that and convey it properly. We're going to have a good day here in Richmond, Virginia.
All right, Tim, thank you. We will see how all those tools are employed throughout the afternoon as this sport's version of a pennant race comes to a head today. When we come back, we talk to the two drivers who lead the field of the green, Carl Edwards, who starts second, and the only man he's chasing in the standings, Kyle Busch, who starts on the pole today here in Richmond.
Didn't they run into each other a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah. Aerial coverage today brought to you by Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years.
He's got him. I believe he's got him this time. Oh, he turned him. No. Oh, he turned him. No. I'll just tell you something. That ain't going to go over too good right there.
No, it's not.
Like it needs to be grabbed by the helmet again.
Just gets in there a little too hard, and of course, Junior's not cutting him any slack. He's keeping him pinned down, but can't run over the man.
I was going for the win. Just ended up on the hook today. So just disappointed.
That was the ending of the last race here on May 3rd. Perhaps we'll see that kind of finish after 400 laps today. Dale Jr. starts fourth. We hear now from the three drivers in front of him who will lead the field of the green flag. Dave?
One of those is Carl Edwards, and if you follow the chase, which I know you all do, you know when the points are reset, those bonus points are added up. You're 20 behind in that category now. How much is that on your mind today to win the race and get that extra 10 points?
Well, that's all we can really go do to help our chance at a championship is we need to step away from the car. The guys are getting nervous about you. But yeah, that's all we've got. I mean, is these bonus points, 10 points, you know, that could definitely define the season. So, you know, Bob and I and all the guys agree this is just for fun. Go out there, get the win. Anything else is, you know, is not really what we're out here for today.
Your team tells me that showing up 31st on the time charts on Friday, it was bad, but it's not a big worry.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. But I believe we started and the car was terrible. I mean, we tried some things that didn't work. Bob went back to some stuff that he knew would help it, and at the end of the day, we were pretty good on average. So we'll find out here in a couple minutes if it really is good or if that's just optimistic. But I think it's going to be very slick, and it's going to be a lot of fun today.
All right, the guy with the 20-point advantage is standing by with Shannon.
Yeah, your points leader, Kyle Busch, has a chase berth. He's clinched a chase berth back in Bristol. So you've had these last 2 weeks to just go for wins. How much has the mental downtime of not points racing, how is that going to benefit you going into the last 10 races?
Well, we haven't really changed our focus or changed what we've done all year long. We've just kind of gone out there and tried to race for wins and have come close a couple times. California was a bit of a struggle for us, but hopefully here today we can have a good solid run again and, you know, contend for something, see if we can't get a win here, but otherwise just carry the strong momentum hopefully into the chase.
Yeah, we're almost finished with the regular season. Last race in the regular season, we start the chase. In your words, how would you describe the regular season for Kyle Busch?
I mean, it's been great. Everything's gone really, really well. We've won a few races and we've been able to capitalize on some strong runs, and yet had a couple bad runs too where we might have tried to do something different to change that around a little bit, and that's where we look forward to for next weekend at Loudon. We didn't run so well there in the spring, but we try to change that around and run better this time.
All right, Kyle Busch leading them to green. Jamie?
Well, Shannon, Jimmy Johnson may have a little bit of an advantage. He's won here in the day and he's won here at night. So tell me some of the main differences running here in the day when you guys were planning to run last night.
I think it just loses grip more than anything. So whatever your car was doing in practice, it's just going to be a little worse. And I think that the slower pace will make for better racing. It's easier to run side by side at that point. The groove's going to get nice and wide, and I think you'll see a very exciting race today.
All right, well, he's claiming that this is going to be more exciting, guys. One of two drivers ever to make every chase race. Alan?
So we got all the fast guys bunched up at the front because qualifying was canceled. The field lined up according to owner points. This could be good.
This could be good. I'll guarantee you one thing. They're all thinking about how is my car going to handle right now. I was going to race this thing at night. Now I'm doing this during the day.
It's going to be interesting to see how this track changes, if it does, once it starts to rubber up. You were telling me, Rusty, it's going to get a lot tighter as the day goes on. I'm so fired up, I can't stand it. We're going to see some great racing.
So where the championship is concerned, some bonus points for those first few guys to try and race for to be closer together or further apart from the competition come New Hampshire next week. And then for David Reagan and Clint Boyer, Casey Kane, will they be in the championship group or will they be left out at day's end? Let's go trackside for the opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as soldiers from the U.S. Army Quartermaster Non-Commissioned Officer Academy out of Fort Lee, Virginia, present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Colonel Mark McCauley, 192nd Fighter Wing Commander, Virginia National Guard, leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by Reverend Joe Ellison of Essex Village Community Church with today's invocation.
Please say the pledge with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, we thank you today. We thank you for this country we call America. Thank you, Lord, for protecting us from the storms. Thank you for the family that you have blessed. Lord, we thank you for the many fine men and women that serve in our country while we're at war. We ask you to bless them today. The Lord, protect our drivers today. We thank you for good, safe, clean racing. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and in the Holy Ghost, amen.
Race fans, please welcome Nashville recording artist and Chevy's own Jolie Holiday with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And so the scene down on the grid now as these drivers get ready to climb aboard. Buckle up. The last-minute huddle for Joe Gibbs with his team for Kyle Busch. Words from the coach before they get ready to go. Rusty, Brad, a little what to watch for today as these 400 laps unfold.
Alan, the biggest thing I'm concerned about, if my car is not handling right, don't get lapped early, man. Drive that baby for all it's worth and hold on. Another thing, be careful down in turn one. A lot of speed going into turn one. If you get sideways, you could spin the car. We see that a lot.
Coming on to pit road, you come off the racetrack so quick. It's a small, short pit road. If you make a mistake and get a lap down or screw up on pit road, you're in trouble because you will not make it up because it's a short track.
And bottom line on everything, don't leave till the checkered flag, because you just don't know what's going to happen. You heard it from Tony Stewart. We saw it from Denny Hamlin earlier this year in the race here back in May. So 7 drivers for 5 spots in the championship, and our NASCAR coverage moves over to ESPN for the Chevy Rock and Roll 400, the final race to determine who's in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup.
On behalf of Chevrolet, I'm proud to welcome you to the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Racing is all about momentum, and momentum is something we have plenty of at Chevrolet. The 2008 Silverado and Malibu were named the highest-ranked large pickup and midsize car in initial quality by J.D. Power & Associates. Available this fall are all-new Chevy Traverse crossover, and Chevrolet offers more models than anyone else with 30 mpg highway or better. Thanks, and enjoy the Chevy Rock and Roll 400.
We welcome you live to our ESPN coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Rock and Roll 400, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 from sunny Richmond International Raceway. After dodging Tropical Storm Hannah the past 48 hours, we are set for the final race of the chase. Here are the current point standings. Remember, only the top 12 drivers will enter the championship hunt 1 week from today. So let's get this party started as we go trackside for the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Grand Marshal, retired firefighter and proud Chevy Silverado owner, Craig Monahan, as he delivers those most famous words in motorsports.
On behalf of Ladder 5, Engine 2-4, the 2nd Battalion, and the FDNY, I thank you, America, for all your love and support after 9/11. And thank you, NASCAR, for televising the national anthem. And the command, gentlemen, start your engines!
Bring them up, bring them up. Fired up. All right, bud, fired up. All right, man, fired up. Let's go out there and win this thing, Kim. No risk, all rewards, so let's just enjoy it. Get in this thing in a big way. We're not going to sneak in. We're getting in a big way. Take care of you in here.
Engines have fired and the pressure is building. Who will win the race and who will get in the chase? When we come back, we'll tell you what we think will happen. We'll look at the starting grid and we'll wave the green flag. Back in Richmond, it all comes down to one day, one race, one final chance to get in a chase. And here's the final 12th transfer spot. It's a three-man race. Clint Boyer, a 17-point lead over David Reagan, 48 points ahead of Casey Kane. Hello, everyone. Along with Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us here as we set the stage for the final race of the chase. And, guys, those three drivers so close, there's got to be some strategy involved. What is it?
Well, for Clint Boyer, there really isn't enough cushion to go out there and just ride around. He's got to race. He has to race hard all night long or all day long. The other two guys, they can throw everything with the kitchen sink at this thing. They don't have anything to lose. If they make the chase, great. If they don't, they gave it all they had.
Yeah, I think, Andy, you're exactly right. They all three have to go like they're trying to win this race. The only one, just like you said, is Clint Boyer. He can monitor what the other two guys are doing. That may let him not take the chances that he has to at some point in time. So he'll be keeping an eye on what that 9 and 6 are doing, and that could alter the way that he runs this race.
For more on Clint Boyer's chase chances, let's go down trackside to Jamie Little.
Well, trying to beat Clint Boyer here at Richmond, that's bad news for the competition. Why? He's a short track specialist. He has the best average finish on a short track than any other driver in the field. He's never finished worse than 12th here, and remember, he won here in May. If stats are any indication, Clint Boyer should lock himself in the chase, no problem. Shannon Spade?
Yeah, Jamie, the Richmond Fall race went under the lights in 1991, and since then, this will be the first time that this September race is run under daylight. Now, according to Denny Hamlin's crew chief Mike Ford, there are two sides. On the positive, the practice is very similar to how they practiced on Friday, the conditions. But on the other side, the negative, the track will be very slick and greasy, at least at the beginning. But hey, at least all the drivers are on the track are in the same situation. Mike?
And Shannon, what about the #1 seed, Kyle Busch? He has 8 victories this year, but if there's one chink in the armor, it's the fact that over the last 3 races, he's finished behind the #2 seed, that being Carl Edwards. The question is, can Kyle Busch regain that momentum and that psychological advantage by beating Edwards today? Or will he be looking over his shoulder entering the chase, Dave?
Mike, in the 4-year history of the chase, last year was the first time that the top 12 positions did not change hands. No one raced in, no one fell out. Is history going to repeat itself this year, or will it be like the first 3 years where someone got in and someone didn't? We'll know after 400 laps. Doc?
Dave, the drama is building. Drivers now alone with their thoughts, thinking about what this day could mean to them and to their teams as well as to their careers if they can lock their way into the chase. Now we'll take you inside the battles on a Sunday afternoon short track NASCAR style with 8 different high definition onboard cameras. 5 of these cameras are inside Chase Contenders cars. We'll also have a camera on board the Chevy pace car. Be able to give you a unique look at the start and restart here as they come barreling out of turn 4 down to take the green flag. Our in-race reporter today is the 31 car of Jeff Burton. Let's visit with him.
Hey, Jeff, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy? Hey, Jeff, different track than you were expecting to race on. What kind of changes do you have to make to your car to race on this track today?
We just worked on getting it tightened up. When we were loose here yesterday, we kind of struggled, so we just worked on making sure we were tight enough.
All right, Jeff, our second question comes from our ESPN mailbag. Since you're already locked into the chase, are you going to take any extra chances today? That comes from Ryan in Plano, Texas.
No, we are who we are. We're not going to try to change it. We're here to try to learn and get better for starting next week. We're not going to do anything out of character, though, I hope.
All right, Jeff, thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Jeff Burton starts back in 5th in the AT&T Chevrolet. Now, take a look at our race analysis. It is 400 laps, 300 miles on a 3/4 mile oval. And, of course, there is the pit road speed, 40 miles an hour, the pit window. And there's the different banking here on this 3/4 mile D-shaped oval. Guys, we were scheduled to race at Saturday night. We said we're going to race in the heat of the day. Who does that favor and who does that hurt?
Well, you know, one thing that Jeff Gordon and his crew have been fighting is grip, and they don't have a lot of that here today. They were expecting to have some of that at night, so I think that might hurt these guys' chances today.
And I think that very reason is why I think it favors Tony Stewart, because he's a slick racetrack driver. He knows how to get his car hooked up, and he can handle that slick racetrack. So I think it does favor Tony a little bit.
Let's listen to Chad Canals talking to Jimmy Johnson.
The last of a grueling 26-race schedule. After this, the fun really begins. So let's go out there, relax, enjoy ourselves today. This is no worse for the wear. We're just going out there to win this race, boys. Let's have some fun.
Jimmy Johnson swept both events at Richmond a year ago. He dominated a week ago in California. Everyone is saying now, although he has not won the most races, that if you're going to win the championship in 2008, you're going to have to beat that guy in the 48. Great crowd on hand after the storms have moved through. NASCAR racing on a Sunday afternoon at Richmond. 105th time the NASCAR stock cars have come to Richmond International Raceway. Out of turn 4, Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards door to door. Toyota, Ford, Chevrolet. That's the top 3. Here they come to the green flag. With the waving of the green flag, the 16 car and the 29 have now quenched their way into the chase. Greg Biffle and Kevin Harvick are in the 2008 chase for the Sprint Cup.
Oh, Kyle Busch got a nice jump on the start of this race. See a lot of racing there. Dale Jr. a little front bumper action to Carl Edwards.
He was wearing that back bumper out on that 99 car in 3 and 4.
He's hung up on the outside right now, as you can see him come off of turn 2. Jeff Burton on the inside of Dale Jr.
That's not always a bad thing, though. That's not a bad group to be in. Although the racetrack is green, that could hurt him just a little bit early.
Here's the race for 12th position, the 6, the 07, and the 9. Those are the 3 guys we talked about. Boyer in the 07, David Reagan.
You got to love the way this race lined up, because these guys did not qualify. I think that's the way they ought to come to Richmond every year, is just line these guys up by points. Keep them all around each other.
And as you guys said, David Reagan has nothing to lose. Just put the hammer down and go after it, which is exactly what he's doing here in the early laps.
Well, he put himself in front of the 07 right now, and that's sending him a message. Hey, I have a pretty good race car here, too. Shannon?
Yeah, as far as Clint Boyer's concerned, his crew chief Gil Martin told me that he actually is happy that the way that this race lined up without qualifying, because of course all of the guys in the top 12 are around each other. He said he feels that those drivers know what's at stake, and he feels that they'll be a little bit safer, especially on restarts at the start of this race.
David Reagan's best career finish came here a year ago. He finished 3rd, and if he'd had 15 more laps, he could have won this race. That car was that good. He equaled that best finish at Michigan just a few weeks later. Dave.
And on that 6 car, I talked to Jimmy Fenning, the crew chief, this morning. He wishes they had qualifying. They had to start 13th, and Jimmy felt like he had at least a top 10 qualified car. And on the short track, that starting position is so important, and keeping the track position. You don't want to get down early.
I'm seeing a lot of cars really slide around here right now. There's just no grip. There's no grip in either groove right now, but as much rain as what we had, there's no way that there's any rubber left. So these guys are just trying to find some way of getting around this racetrack until we have the competition yell at lap 35 and they can adjust on their cars.
24 and 16. There's Jeff Gordon going by. The 16 Biffle, you've already mentioned, he has now clinched his spot in the chase. Gordon's still looking for win number 1. He was the fastest car, by the way, in practice yesterday or Friday morning. They have not been on the racetrack, folks, since 1 o'clock on Friday, over 48 hours, and I guess a lot of guessing going on now in terms of setup.
I was down in the garage this morning, and everybody I talked to, nobody really did know what the racetrack was going to do. They were just going to say, hey, I got to have my car adjustable. Air pressure is going to be one of the biggest things they use to tune their cars, but nobody really knew what to expect today.
No, they didn't. But what we're seeing right now is what we expect from Richmond. They're able to pass on the bottom. Some cars able to pass on the high side, and that's exactly what we expect. We see Tony Stewart there trying to get around Jeff Burton. Jeff Gordon, he got up against the wall, got a little bit too close there, and that's what they're going to fight, is that lack of grip on the exit of the corners.
Here's what happened to the 24 a moment ago. Top of your screen. Watch him sliding out and just getting against it there.
Wow. Yeah, he did get against it. That's a concrete part of the wall, too, off the corner. That turn, too, really narrows up as you come off the corner, and that's what happened to Jeff. He just ran out of room. Doesn't seem to have hurt his car. He's still going to the front. And he had a kind of a weird practice on Friday. He wasn't all that good early, and then next thing you know, you turn around and he's on the top of the sheet. So looks like he's kind of taking up where he left off. He's still pretty good here.
Yeah, and this is good to see that they're able to be. I was really concerned about whether this race team, with what they've been fighting, was going to be able to handle this daytime situation, but this shows just the championship caliber race team that they are.
Junior making a move.
Well, they're battling for this. Kevin Harvick's actually run Junior down and had passed him. Now Junior's come back on him. So Kevin Harvick's car looked very, very strong here at the beginning of this race.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. looked like he was going to win it here back in May, but got a little contact with 2 laps to go. They brought the same race car back they thought would be just as good, if not better, here to get win number 2. Well, when they waved the green flag, this guy, Greg Biffle, officially became a part of the 2008 chase for the Sprint Cup, and the crew high fives all around. Working lap 17 of the Chevy Rock and Roll 400, Kevin Harvick riding along with him. He has now clinched his spot in the 2008 chase for the Sprint Cup, and now he's trying to clinch a win, which he has escaped him thus far this year, and he is on the move.
He is on the move. Yeah, he'd like to have those 10 bonus points and cut that deficit a little bit here. This race car is really fast. He's gotten up in the middle part of the racetrack and just digging off the corner.
Andy, our Wrangler telemetry shows you just that they jam those brakes on pretty hard, but it doesn't take him long to get back in the throttle.
Well, that line he's running, he doesn't have to use the brake quite as hard. He can let the car roll up the hill a little bit. And this straightaway here is a D shape. It's a little bit longer, so you'll carry a few more RPMs down in turn 1 than you do down the backstretch.
Yeah, and this is a little surprising to me. Kevin Harvick, I've watched him race a lot here over the years. He's been so committed to that bottom groove, and that's where he's always been fast. He doesn't arc the car into the corner a lot, but this is totally kind of out of character for him.
It's totally out of character for Kevin Harvick. I talk to Todd Berry all the time about that. You know, a lot of these racetracks, that high groove will come in, and he can't hardly talk Harvick into going up there. He's up there today.
I tell you what, guys, I'm real surprised that Kyle Busch is actually running on the bottom of the racetrack off of turn 4. It really uses up the tires like that. This is one of the only racetracks we run at that as soon as the race starts, you go right to the top of the track. There's more grip, there's more momentum. All the 6 races that I won here, we always won the races off the high side off of turn 4, and it seems to get there all the time.
He must have listened to you, Rusty, because the last lap, that's the first time he's been to the top of the racetrack, middle to the top. So you might have a direct line to him.
Well, you can tell right now, Dale, you've been here many times, as we all have, and this track here is one of the only tracks that, man, 3 and 4, hey, baby, 20 laps in this race, get to the top. And but down at turn 1 and 2, you see multiple grooves down there. You'll see them on the bottom, middle, and top. At turn 3 and 4, right to the top.
Well, Carl was running that top as well in the 99 car. Dave?
And, Doc, that's not where he started. He's fishing for a line that will work for this car right now. He's running 8th. He started this race on the outside of the front row. Loose in, loose off. Listen to him describe his car.
Yeah, when I get off the brakes and turn in, I mean, it tosses the rear end real big, and then off, I can't push the throttle down. Good work, buddy. Way to be smart. We'll be just fine here.
He's dialed some brake to the rear of the car. He was locking up the fronts just a little bit, and he's fishing for that line, trying to make this car better before they get a chance to work on it.
As good as Carl Edwards is here, his teammate in the 6 car might even be better. And David Reagan, guys, he needs to be able to have a good run, and he is coming.
And he's working the bottom of the racetrack very well. One of the best cars on the bottom that I've seen. And he's passed a few good cars right here. Just finished passing Jeff Burton, who's up in the high lane.
Yeah, Jeff's gotten up there and kind of holding things up. Matt Kenseth had called him and hasn't been able to get by him. And there's a number of cars, including the 11 car, who we'll need to keep an eye on, too. He is on the bottom and going forward. But we see 2 guys that are battling for that 12th spot here, the 07 and the 6. They're keeping each other in sight, and they're using the bottom of the racetrack right now.
4th position, a couple of teammates. Jeff Gordon going by and taking the spot away from Jimmy Johnson.
Jeff's looking very good early on. I was kind of surprised at this myself, that he was able to go forward. With the sun on the racetrack, I thought it was going to be too slick for him to be good.
Yeah, I hate to be wrong, but this is one time that I don't mind. I'm glad to see those guys running well.
Kevin Harvick using the Rusty Wallace Highline. Now also Kyle Busch up there running down Kyle to see if he can take over the lead, and he's moving in a half a car length away.
Yeah, Kyle was not running that high groove. He was on the bottom, and he looked in his mirror and saw the 29 car, Kevin Harvick, and he said, I think I'll try that lane.
What was that smoke we saw off the 18 just a moment ago?
That's just that splitter on the right side of the car hitting the ground. It rubs the racetrack and makes that smoke.
Harvick's taking the high line to another level as we ride along with him. Watch him as he gets down in here into turn 3 and 4. He's going to go a full car length above this 18 car.
I mean, they're way up. I've never seen them run quite this high here.
That's amazing. I was wondering if today's conditions would make these guys really spread this racetrack out.
And remember, there will be a competition yellow at lap 35 because there has been no rubber on the track and all the rain here. They wanted to get these guys on the pit road and look at the tires and the splitters and the bumpers and the fenders because we might use some up here.
Here we go.
29 tries to go around the 18.
Watch this. Look at that groove that Kevin Harvick is running.
And he's got him now. He's just going to carry a lot of speed off there. He's going to lead that lap, I believe. Maybe not quite. Didn't quite.
Yeah, he led the lap on the monitor there.
This is what makes this racetrack so much fun as a driver and as a spectator, just watching the races here. These guys, how they can get out and just race in different parts of it and accomplish a lot of the same things. You see Dale Jr.'s up there. He's following Harvick.
I was going to say, Harvick's catching all these guys to put them down a lap. They're not going to hold him up a bit. They're not running his groove. Mike?
Well, it's still going to be pretty hard to hold Kyle Busch off. I mean, they're going for one thing and one thing only today, and that's a win. And their crew chief, Steve Addington, gave them a little bit of a pep talk before the race. He said, guys, this is the final day. We can just go for the win. That's it. He said, next week, it's a whole different ball game. And Kyle, he said, this race, it's like an all-star race. It means nothing unless we come away with the trophy.
What's the old rock and roll song, the old Elvis song, Turn Me Loose? That's what they've done here now with Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch and some of these guys that are locked into the chase. And the 88, by the way, he's starting to say, hello, Kyle, I'm on my way.
Maybe somebody else got turned loose. Yeah. When that high groove comes in, though, he is the guy really that I look to make up a lot of ground.
Yeah, we see Harvick catching some of the back part of the field here. And these guys are going to race hard. There's only a couple of laps before they're going to get this competition yellow, but they don't want to go down a lap right now. It's going to make their days awful long.
By the way, you saw him go by the 84 car, A.J. Allmendinger, a moment ago. The car sounded sort of sour. Word is they may be down a cylinder. We'll update you when they make that pit stop on the competition yellow here in a couple of laps on him. We just joined our coverage. Kyle Busch, by virtue of point standings, set on the pole here. Qualifying rain out. He led the first 28 laps. Kevin Harvick has taken over the lead and now led the last 6 laps.
See, the 88 car's got right to the bumper of Kevin Harvick now.
Just can't get over how high they're running over there. I wonder who was the first one to try that high groove out. Get it cleaned off.
Denny Hamlin, who dominated here in the spring, leading 381 laps of 400 before having a tire go down. Broken heart and a broken tire, as he put it, in the garage area yesterday. Going by the 48. And action heating up on the left side there. The 88, Dale Earnhardt Jr., right on the rear deck of Kevin Harvick.
Junior's car has really come in. I think he was the first guy that we saw because he was on the outside early in the race. And then Harvick, as our competition yellow is flying right now. There's a lot of these guys that are glad that happened. They need to work on their cars. The two guys that really are fast, Kevin Harvick and Dale Jr., I don't think they'll be making many changes.
I wouldn't be. Those cars look good, both of them.
This guy here probably didn't need much either, David Reagan's bunch, because he was making a move. He's all the way up to 8th position from 13th here in the first 35 laps.
The only thing is that the guy that he's trying to catch, Clint Boyer, is following him right up through there. He's right on his bumper.
Kevin Harvick's bunch, by virtue of no qualifying, and they start on points, all these guys are all sort of clustered together on pit road.
I love that. That's the neatest thing about this whole thing getting rained out is all these guys are right on top of each other on the start of the race and on pit road. This is kind of cool.
And pit road is going to be important today. They're going to have to, best way to make up spots right here.
40 miles an hour, competition yellow. Headed down to you, Dave.
David Reagan says the front end turns well, but it wants to over-rotate just a bit. Jimmy Fennicrucci trying not to over-adjust. Just a slight air pressure adjustment for this 6 car for fresh tires and fuel.
Yeah, Dale Jr. pulling his car in. Right now he's saying he's free in and a little tight off, but Tony Eury Jr. looking on. They are not going to make any changes to this car right now. See if the track comes to them. 4 tires. Mike?
And Kevin Harvick saying he's just a touch tight in the center, but pretty confident it'll come to him. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and a 4-tire change. Meanwhile, in the pit box directly in front, Kyle Busch came in a little bit hot. They had to push the car back in the stall. Tight in the center, a 4-tire change. They also made a track bar adjustment, but a slow stop. The team pretty disappointed as the 18 rolls away.
Kyle Busch, by virtue of coming in so hot, loses 7 spots in the pits. He had to be pushed back into his stall before they could service the car.
I saw Travis Paupel gained a bunch of spots. He missed his pit completely. David Reagan, he just avoids a little bit of a touchy thing there.
Got to be careful not to damage the front of the car. Trying to dodge Bill Elliott exiting the pits. Back in a moment. A Chevy is leading the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Jeff Gordon, by virtue of taking only 2 right side tires, is being shown as the leader. Here is the 6 car for David Reagan, who was moving his way up through the field. You saw him having to dodge Bill Elliott on pit road a moment ago, and that cost him 5 positions getting off of the pits. Let's listen in.
Hopefully he'll go a lap down and we won't have to worry about him. I thought we could get him good stop, guys, but yeah, he'll be a lap down shortly.
Referring to Bill Elliott having to dodge the 21 car coming in, and it's still early, but those spots can be costly considering how hard he had driven the car.
Yeah, he did a great job, but he's still got a long race to go. Sam Hornish got the free pass there. He's back on the lead lap. We only have 2 cars a lap down as we go back to green.
Jeff Gordon just got right side tires. It's going to be an experiment for this team. I'm not sure it's going to work because you got a lot of good cars behind him, but if you're going to try it, now's the time to do it.
Saw the 18 car flash by right there. Kyle Busch, remember, he lost 7 positions in the pits by virtue of sliding through his pit, and they had to back up his car, so he and David Reagan, the big losers. Here is Kevin Harvick trying to reassume the lead. He was the leader when the competition yellow came out.
Dale Jr. making his way by the 78 of Joe Nemechek. He almost got into the back of him. It looked like he might cost him there coming out of 4, but he's made it all work here.
That 84 car's been on pit road quite a few times, down a cylinder or 2. They're afraid it's going to blow up any minute.
Harvick, Gordon, Earnhardt Jr., and folks, Denny Hamlin, we told you how dominant he was back in May. He is making his move toward the front.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, he didn't start the race off all that great, but man, he came on as we see him battling Dale Earnhardt Jr. here for the 3rd spot. His car was really fast, and he's running the bottom of the racetrack.
I think that Denny Hamlin's going to have to go up top if he's going to run with these guys, because the 88 and the 29 car have got it going on up there. Shannon?
Yeah, you guys talked a little bit earlier about how Dale Earnhardt Jr. brought the same car from May. Well, not the 11. They actually brought a different car. They feel that these things are changing so quickly from every week and every racetrack that they wanted to bring their best up. They feel like they've made a lot of advancements. So, of course, this is not the car that was dominant back in May. Right now, Denny Hamlin just really struggling with the drive off, which we've heard a lot of drivers here today saying.
I think probably a pretty good move as we're riding along with Tony Stewart here, and we see Denny Hamlin, his teammate, right up in front. But if you're going to sit on what you did here the last time, I heard Denny Hamlin say the other day that, hey, we might have could have been a top 5 car, but that's not what we come to the racetrack for.
Imagine that was 4 months ago, and he led 380 plus laps here, and now they have to bring a different car because things have changed so drastically in the sport.
Yeah, this one looks pretty good as he moved by Jeff Gordon to take over the 2nd spot.
His teammate, by the way, no slouch back there, Tony Stewart, a 3-time winner here, now moved underneath Earnhardt Jr. for position.
Yeah, I might have spoken too soon about that high groove. I know Kevin Harvick's still using it pretty good, but the 11 car and the 20 are both really good on the bottom right now.
Yeah, I think, especially when they have new tires on, I think the bottom will work for a while, but it will be interesting to see as we move forward. Harvick's still running that high, and he's way out front right now.
Jimmy Johnson back there in this group. Greg Biffle in the 16, Johnson the 48. They are 12th, 13th, and 14th. David Reagan, you see there the 6 car trying to go around the 8 of Mark Martin.
And to make up some of those spots he lost on pit road.
Yeah, this is short track racing at its best right here. You got guys bottom and in the middle there. See Jimmy Johnson wanting Greg Biffle to go on so they can get by the 44 of David Rudiman. Reagan up on that high side. This could work to his advantage there. Could trap the 8 car. If he doesn't get wrecked, it'd work to his advantage.
That corner really tightens up off turn 2. Almost had a big one there.
They did. David Ruderman, by the way, the 44 car, coming off a career best finish at California 9th a week ago. Running pretty well here, trying to hold on to that position. 13th currently, as Reagan now will take it away and leads the parade up on the high side. 0-7 of Clint Boyer on the move, and that doesn't help David Reagan's cause. Boyer now being shown in 6th position.
Definitely helping Clint Boyer's cause.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, with his record here in the past and knowing that he was going to have a good race car here, made David Reagan's day almost an impossible task if this 017 doesn't have any problems, because Clint does such a good job here.
You heard Jamie Little say at the top of our show that Clint Boyer has never finished worse than 12th here in 5 starts, and you're that good at the racetrack, you got to feel pretty comfortable and confident about your day.
Yeah, but that's why we run the races, because anything can happen. We see Tony Stewart here trying to move his way up. He's on the back bumper of Dale Jr. right now.
He's forced Dale Jr. to start running the bottom of the racetrack, and now the 88 car looks pretty good. I don't know if when the tires go away, if these guys will go back to that real high line, but right now they're on the bottom.
You know, the other side of it is they're getting some rubber down on the racetrack, and I think that will help the bottom of the racetrack a little more.
We came here on the weekend worrying about Hurricane Hannah. Right now they need to be worried about Hurricane Harvick. He's got them covered in the early laps.
In contrast to a rather wet weekend, Friday, Saturday, a beautiful, warm, sunny afternoon in Virginia's capital as the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series runs the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Kevin Harvick, the leader, under green at lap 59. Our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge today, just like these race drivers, always looking ahead to next year before this year's even done. Which driver changing to a new team next year has the best chance of competing for the 2009 championship? Mark Martin, Casey Mears, Tony Stewart, Reed Sorensen. Play text the word crew to 191 on your AT&T wireless phone. Results later in the race. Standard text rate applies. You can't give your vote now because you might sway the voting. But we got a couple guys who did change teams over the course of this past winter that are in the contention for this year's championship. One of them right there, that 88 car, Dale Jr.
Yeah, it seems like it worked for Dale Jr. this year. He's been running great all year long in that car. But guys, remember the first race here at Richmond, he actually was leading the race until the late stages when him and Kyle Busch got together. Had a good car the first race also, Brad.
Very strong first race, and boy, it's good to see him have a good run going today. He's running 4th. Really has a good-looking race car. I know he's got a couple things that he's not happy with, but looks like he's going to be in the end of the hunt at the end of the day.
Let's find out what's going on with driver and team 88 right now. Shannon?
Yeah, Alan, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was saying that the car was a little bit free on that first run. They did not make any changes. He's still struggling with the car. This is what he had to say over the radio.
Still hitting the ground, TJ. It's hurting me on these new tires. Getting in like these other fellas getting in. I'm sliding the nose pretty bad on that splitter. Right through there. Quit the center of the corner, but down into the center is tight bouncing on that splitter. It's more the left front now. The right front's not really the problem, I don't think.
Now, of course, these teams only had one practice this weekend on Friday, a 2-hour practice. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88 was experiencing something very similar in that practice session, that splitter hitting the ground. For more on this, let's go to Tim Brewer at the Chevy Cutaway car.
Thanks, Shannon. Folks, the way you control the height of the splitter right here is coming down, and we have deflection right here. This is a shock absorber sitting on a bump stop. It actually keeps the splitter up off the ground. But when you're in low air pressure, what it does, it actually compresses the tire, and you have a lot of deflection in the sidewall of the tire. That puts the splitter closer to the ground. That's the reason you drag the thing on low air pressure.
Race cars like a rolling science project all the time, and all those external conditions affected. It's warm today, and these guys are having to deal with some things they weren't expecting to.
Yeah, a little bit. Dale Earnhardt Jr., you see how low that splitter is to the ground right now. He said it's hitting on new tires. Well, the only thing he can really do right now is just kind of back the corner up, not drive the car down in the corner so deep. Try not to hit the brakes so hard so the front end slams on the ground. And as soon as the tire pressure builds up, it should correct itself.
Oh, it's just such a fine line, though, Rusty. That's a good attitude of the race car, though. You want that race car almost driving down into that track, but it's so hard. Once that splitter starts bouncing, you got some serious issues.
And I'll tell you, the thing I think about most where Junior's concerned today, he's had kind of a little stumble here these last 2 months or so. Here's a guy who, if he's going to race for a championship over the next 10 weeks, a win today would be huge, Doc.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., exactly, guys, has had only one top 10 finish since he won at Michigan back in June. That was an 8th place finish at Daytona. Stumbling indeed, but maybe turning it around today. In spite of the fact he's dancing on that splitter, he's still holding on to 3rd spot behind Kevin Harvick, the 29 car, who is our leader.
Yeah, but he's losing a couple of tenths a lap right now to Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. Denny's been catching him the last 4 or 5 laps. Looks like the 29 car, Kevin Harvick, searching around the racetrack for a groove, and it's Hamlin's just sticking right to the bottom of the racetrack right now.
And what about the 9 car, DJ? I mean, boy, this guy's really struggling.
Boy, I was watching a while ago. Casey Kane he's really not a factor here right now. He's getting passed left and right, just falling back. They struggled in practice the other day. They were really having a hard time hitting the splitter with all the Gillette Evernham cars, and they just could not get them to handle. And Casey is backpedaling right now and doesn't look very good for his chances of getting in the chase.
Shannon can tell us what happened to Casey Kane and why he's backpedaling.
Yeah, Doc, it was a pit road incident. He got stuck on pit road. The team had to move that car back, so just a slow pit stop down here on pit road. But you know, this week, Casey Kane actually said that he enjoys the pressure of having to step up. Well, certainly the pressure is on right now for this 9 team.
His car's not very good on the racetrack either. I know he lost some spots on pit road, but he's losing a lot of spots out here on the racetrack. They just haven't been good all weekend. I mean, the practice session, they were just one of the slowest cars in that practice on Friday.
Yeah, he might enjoy the pressures of this, trying to get in the chase, but he's not enjoying the handling of his race cars. We see him just about get into the wall coming off the turn 4.
In the Friday morning practice session, all of the Gillette Evernham cars were struggling toward the back of the speeds. And DJ, I know you talked to Elliott Sadler and some of the guys in there. They were having trouble with just bouncing off that splitter.
Yeah, they just couldn't get their cars no matter what they did. They thought that Casey found something right towards the end of practice, but it obviously was something that didn't last very long, because if he's not careful, the way that it's going right now, he's going to get lapped before long. Carl Edwards is another car that's struggling a little bit. We see him up. He's been bottom and top, but just can't seem to get a handle on it. Dave?
DJ, he had been keeping pace from his 7th place or 5th place restart, lost just a couple of positions. Then just a couple laps ago, he said, I may have a left rear tire going down. We'll keep an eye on it.
Wow, he's got something going on. He's sideways right there. He's got something wrong here.
And he's going to pull it down and probably head to pit road.
Your way, guys. Your way. 5100, buddy. 5100, nice and easy here, nice and easy.
You tell what side?
I would go for
Can't tell. I think it's
I'd go
the
for 4.
right rear,
Yeah, the right. That left rear didn't look like it.
4 tires, guys, 4 tires. Put the bite in it. Another round of bite in it.
That's Bob Osborne talking as Carl pulls into the pits.
Now, these guys are trying to figure out which one it is, and 9 times out of 10, if you try to get 2, you'll get the wrong one. Dave?
So they just changed right side tires. The other difficult thing is for crew chief Bob Osborne, if they did happen to get the correct sides, and we'll confirm that as soon as we can, did you make the right adjustment to the race car? His car was still not operating the way he wanted it to, so that's the gamble. And Andy, you know, the hard call for the crew chief too.
That is a hard call right there, but they may have gotten lucky on this one. I think it was the right side, but I never like doing that. Lead's heating up right here.
Hey, Andy, it's just like this. If a guy goes across the pit wall and he actually sees that tire down, you can get away with getting the rights, just like you used to do the rear. When you identify, hey, this tire's flat, hey, we just get the right sides.
We are told, Dave, it was the right rear.
That's correct, Doc. I'm showing you the left rear right there, but just over to the right of it is the right rear. That's the one where they had an issue with it, so it was definitely going down.
Yeah, I think it's just like Brewer said. That right rear tire changer saw it. They called 2 tires, and good call.
Little drama in the pits, drama on the racetrack. Denny Hamlin has gone by. Here comes Earnhardt Jr. like he shot out of a cannon and goes by Harvick and pulls right up on the back of the Toyota of Hamlin.
Yeah, I tell you what, Junior was talking about his car just won't go on the restarts. But, man, after he runs it, about 30 laps, you looked at it, Andy, and said it just takes off.
Yeah, but he's not good until they run about 30. Wow. He gave Hamlin a little shot right there.
Get out of my way.
Oh, look at this. He said, okay, we can play like that.
We can, but he can't afford to be getting in something like that. Junior's in the chase. Hamlin has to be careful with that.
That's true.
They are having a good race.
Yeah, we just heard NASCAR say you know, you guys take it easy up there. Let's have a good race. Dale thinks it's a good race.
That's perfect. That's what we want. That's what we expect to see here.
Denny Hamlin needed to finish 22nd or better now that he's led a lap here to get in the chase. And you guys are right, though. We can't afford to be doing a little pushing and shoving here as we are still inside of 100 laps into the race.
I don't believe he's going to be able to hold off Junior. I think Junior gets going so good on the top after they put some laps on these tires.
He carries so much momentum down the straightaway, getting off of these corners so fast. Just unbelievable. He's using up more racetrack, but man, he is fast.
What's
See
that?
Harvick get up there behind him now.
We heard him say that on new tires, that splitter keeps hitting the ground and really holds Junior up. And you probably wonder why you would do that. Well, you want that splitter down there just as low as you can for performance. Sometimes you get it too low.
Next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, we'll kick off our coverage of the chase for the Sprint Cup with NASCAR. Sprint Cup Series action at New Hampshire, presented by GoDaddy.com. Coverage begins at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC. 7 different winners, the last 7 New Hampshire races. Jeff Burton leads all drivers with 4 wins in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action at the 1 Mile Magic Oval. Riding along with Michael Waltrip, back in his Toyota in the 55 car, being shown in 23rd position. They are chasing Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car. It is Earnhardt Jr. the leader. Denny Hamlin, who dominated here back in May, running in 2nd spot. Kevin Harvick, there's the 29 car, in 3rd. Tony Stewart, looking for win number 1 in 2008, is 4th. Clint Bowyer trying to hold on to that 12th position is 5th. Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, David Reagan, Matt Kenseth. Now let's go up to speed, starting from 11th on back with Mike.
And of course, that's Jimmy Johnson in the 11th spot right now, Doc. This race started off with a little bit of concern for Johnson. The splitter was bottoming out in the corners, but as the pressures have come up in the tires, that problem has gone away. The only concern right now, he's just a little bit snug in the center, but they expect that to get a little bit better as the race goes on. Jamie?
And Greg Biffle sitting 12th right now. The team elated. You saw him celebrate at the start of the show as soon as the green flag dropped. They were clinched in only his 2nd chase effort. He hasn't been in the chase since 2005. So a big day for Greg Biffle. He said this is the first race he's ever been in where points don't matter and he can just ride around and have fun and experiment. Shannon?
Yeah, Jamie, right behind him is Jamie McMurray running 13th. Richmond has definitely been one of those tracks that McMurray has struggled out, especially in the recent races. On that last run, he told his crew chief that the left front was locking up and it was really free in and tight in the center. Air pressure adjustment for Jamie McMurray, who is currently running 13th.
Shannon, Mark Martin wanted this track back in 1990. On that first run, car was a little bit out of sorts for him, so they changed 4 tires, made an air pressure adjustment for him. His teammate right behind him, Martin Truex Jr., hey, he gets his crew chief back this week. Kevin Bono-Manion coming back after a 6-race suspension. He is back, and he says, man, am I glad to be back. I enjoyed the time with my daughter Avery, going to the donut shop, watching the races on Sunday afternoon, but this is where I belong, and he's happy to be back with these guys. On that first run, Ryan Newman in the 12th car, loose into the corner, tight in the middle of the corner, loose off the corner, air pressure and track bar adjustment. He's reported since then that he has a little bit of a right front chatter in that car. Not the greatest news. And his teammate Kurt Busch, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, his car was a 9 loose. So they took a spring rubber out of the right rear, took tape off of the nose of that car, and 4 fresh tires. Oh, look at that, Shannon.
Yeah, Dave, it's been a pretty solid weekend for the 42 car of Juan Pablo Montoya. He had a great practice session on Friday, was on top of the speed charts for most of the afternoon. Right now, he's currently 18th in the standings, running 18th on the track. Well, Juan Pablo Montoya is saying that the car is loose and it's chattering like crazy right now. Air pressure adjustment was all they made on that last pit stop. Jamie.
And behind him, Brian Vickers. So far, they actually said they were getting tight in the center, but they had a good pit stop. You remember back 1 week ago, this team suffered on pit road. They went behind. They had a fast race car, ended on 12, so they're trying to rebound sitting 19th. Shannon?
Yeah, David Gilliland currently running 12th. He started this race. He said the car was awesome. He told his guys over the wall, he said, don't let me do anything to mess this up. Well, they went caution on the track.
70 cars had contact with the wall guys rolling up the backstretch.
Looks like he lost the right front tire.
He hit the wall very hard, Johnny. Yeah, definitely knocked the toe out of it.
Johnny Sauter, the driver of that car, hitting the concrete coming up off of turn 2. There's the damage on the right side, right front tire down. pancaking, taking some of the number and paint off. Then we'll bring out yellow for the second time today.
And if you wanted that could be a case of melting that bead on that right front tire here, because you do use a lot of brake.
That tire does get that wheel gets so hot from that brake heat that it'll actually melt that bead on the tire. And I'm sure that's what's happened here.
Normally that wouldn't be a big deal as high up as he was, but that's where everybody's running right now.
Yeah, we see here, this is the toe in he's talking about. He knocked out the toe. When these cars hit the wall, they bend all these rods that hold the steering straight and knocks it out. You know, you want these things running parallel to each other, but when you hit the wall and bend this stuff, it does knock that toe in out. You see right here, if you scrape it like that, it just bends that. All the suspension parts, the lower control arms, ball joints, when you get that stuff out of line, then you've got a toe in problem or toe out problem, as we see here.
Under caution, Dale Earnhardt Jr. headed down to pit road. He was being shown as a leader and will commit to make a pit stop. So does Denny Hamlin, Harvick, and the other leaders up front. They following him in at 40 miles an hour. Jamie?
And Jeff Burton, nice and refreshed, went home yesterday, hung out with his family, went to a movie, pulls into his pit box. He said he just needs a little more rear grip, 4 tires, track bar adjustment, and air pressure. Dave?
That run, the 17 was mostly loose, according to Matt Kenseth. They will make a track bar and air pressure adjustment. Shannon?
Loose in, tight in the center, loose off, is Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying about the car, but no changes for your race leader, Mike.
The 18 trying to rally back from a poor pit stop the first time they came down pit road. They swing around to the left side. A very clean stop so far. 4 tires and a chassis adjustment on Kyle Busch.
Great pit stop down there on the 88 bunch, and you see Kyle wasn't going to take any chances sliding through his pits. He almost stopped short. There's Earnhardt Jr.
Pit crew paid it off, too. They got him another spot.
Matt Kenseth gains 3 spots. Bowyer back a couple. Jimmy Johnson up a spot, puts him in the top 10. Back in a moment. Welcome back to the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond. Aerial photos from high above our coverage, courtesy of our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Let's visit with our in-race reporter, Jeff Burton.
Jeff, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy? Hey, man, how's your car?
No, we took off the first run. We were really tight. The second run, we got way much better. Made a big change there, so now I feel like we're in the ballpark. And now I think we can tune from here. So I think we're going to be pretty decent.
Okay, 1 to go. Good luck.
Jeff Burton being shown back in 9th position. Again, Earnhardt Jr. is our leader. We've had 6 lead changes among 6 different drivers. Kevin Harvick has led the most laps. He led twice for 42. Kyle Busch, who started on the pole by virtue of point standings, led 28 laps. Earnhardt Jr. now has led 21. Jeff Gordon has also led, and Denny Hamlin.
I look for Jeff Gordon at 24 car to start coming back to the front. I know he's about 12th spot right now, but he's got 4 tires, unlike the last restart where he only had 2.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle up front. You know, Michael Waltrip, you brought up him a while ago. We saw he's in 19th right now. He was running that high line and looking pretty good, too.
Back to Green Flag Racing. See the 99 car pull down. That's Carl Edwards. He is being shown a lap down by virtue of the unscheduled stop, and the 2 right side tires had a right rear tire going down. So right now there are 30 cars on the lead lap in trouble off of turn 2.
Yellow's out.
Yeah, Michael got turned around right there. Didn't get hit. Been pretty lucky. We'll get turned around here and not lose a lap.
We're all right. We're all right. Come
a
on
little
around.
damage on the right rear.
One around.
That will bring out caution for the 3rd time. As you said, he will not lose a lap, and Michael had driven the car all the way back up into the top 20. Show you again what happened to Michael in turn 2.
It's like a little bit of a chain reaction thing. These guys kind of got bottled up in front of him. He slowed down, and the guy behind him did not.
Yeah, it happens a lot here as you get down into turn 1, and everybody's trying to get to different spots there. See Michael go to the bottom. They jam up right there. Michael slowed down and got hit from behind.
Looks like Ryan Newman's one that got him from behind.
Yeah, we're all right. We're all right.
With this caution flag, the 28 car, Travis Quapple, will get the free pass. He was the first car lap down. He will get back on the lead lap. Now 31 cars on the lead lap. Final race to the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars, and here are the point standings as of right now. Clint Boyer trying to hang on. David Reagan having a good run. Casey Kane a bit of a struggle here in the early laps at Richmond International Raceway. And the question is Clint Boyer feeling the pressure? Let's listen in.
All right, I know you're worried about somebody getting around us, but you got to get up in here. We were almost out of box right there. Come to the sign and we'll get you.
Hey, it's 2-4. I either didn't hear you or didn't realize the 10th was a lap down. Sorry. I knew it since I did it. It ain't the deal. I can't keep the damn thing from jerking, and I can't tell how fast I'm going.
Clint Boyer trying to hold on. The pace car leads him around. Dale Earnhardt Jr. the leader as the pace car, as the Chevy pace car pulls away. Let's listen in as we go full throttle.
You ready? You ready? Ready. Green flag. Still inside. Clear high. Still out there, got the one outside. Final one. Looking inside, 07, inside. Clear. Still inside. Inside corner. Clear all around. Next lapper's a 43, 2 cars in front of you. Still clear. Inside.
Kevin Harvick making the pass. That would be for second position. Oh, Denny Hamlin.
There's a hornet's nest behind these guys. They were running 3 wide, about 3 or 4 deep there for all the way around the racetrack.
These restarts here are incredible to watch these guys.
Tony Stewart on the inside of the 17 car. That would be for 6th position. Clint Boyer in front of them. He's in 5th spot.
David Reagan right there on the bottom of the racetrack trying to make his way up through. They had a good pit stop that time, made up a couple of spots, which was a relief to David.
Yeah, they said that they would have that 21 car down a lap and have an opening out. It worked out for them that time. The key thing right here is David Reagan can see the back bumper of that 07 from where he is right now. Dave?
Andy, on that stop, they did not make any changes to David Reagan's car. Not because it was so good they didn't want to touch it, because you know you have to keep up with the racetrack gear. But Jimmy Fennig reasoned that run had been too short for them to make a big swing at it. They wanted another full run to evaluate how the 6 car was working before they really went aggressive with the adjustments.
Now that's where a veteran crew chief can really help you, because the car was pretty good, and even though David might not have been totally happy with the car, he's not going to make a knee-jerk change on the thing until he really feels for sure they need it.
Jimmy Johnson, the 48, trying to make a move inside the 31 car. That's Jeff Burton.
We got the 16 car up in the wall.
And he is locked into the chase, but having a tough day. He just bounced that Ford off the wall. Now gets it going again.
Caution is out.
4th time today for the yellow, Greg Biffle.
We saw him go on a big long slide in practice the other day and not hit the wall, but that looked very similar to that, except this time he did catch a piece of it.
I'm not sure how much it's actually going to hurt, but it looked like he just might have got into that corner a little bit hot, and
he's hit it pretty good.
Yeah, he was out of control getting in there.
Wow, look at that.
Wow.
Looked like those final laps a week ago at California when he was hanging on, trying to run Jimmy Johnson down.
Yeah, so you have to really be careful. You run that high line, you know, you might think that you can get in there harder, but he was trying to carry a lot of speed right there to the center. You could see him really close up on the 31, and that was just more speed than what the tires were able to handle.
Yeah, he was running in 11th position, trying to move in on the 10th and 9th place cars of Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Burton. Under caution for the 4th time at Richmond International Raceway. Back in just a moment.
One lap away from the restart at Richmond, our AT&T Crew Chief Challenge asked you to vote earlier which driver chasing to a new team next year has the best chance of competing for the 2009 championship. Survey says...
Martin.
No.
Oh, man. Well,
Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart's not a bad pick. Absolutely.
Find out how he makes out with his new Stewart Haas Racing. Rusty, on countdown just before the green flag, you said 2 things to watch for: tricky turn 1 and don't get a lap down.
Yeah, we heard Rusty talking about that. You cannot get a lap down and try to make it up, and that's where Carl Edwards is mired way back at 36 in the field.
Well, I tell you what, guys, take a look at turn 1. I mean, look at Carl. He just gets loose. Biffle loose sideways. Looks like the rear brakes might have locked up. You got to watch turn 1. That baby will chew you up every time.
So Biffle back in 31st for the restart, Doc.
Earnhardt Jr. will lead him down. There are 32 cars on the lead lap. You saw Carl Edwards. He is one of those cars a lap down, currently being shown in 36th position.
We saw a lot of hard racing on the last restart. A lot of our chase guys 3 wide and in positions I'm sure they'd just as soon not be in, trying to get close to the front and get by these lap cars. It's always interesting on these restarts.
I see Carl Edwards racing real hard under Clint Boyer. That's the last thing Clint needs is a car make a mistake right here.
Boyer being shown in 5th spot. And behind him is Stewart, and right behind them was David Reagan. So behind Tony Stewart is David Reagan, and he needs to get to the 07 like Stewart's trying to do.
Yeah, the problem is the 99 car, Carl Edwards, he has nothing to lose right here, and Clint's got everything to lose.
And I'm sure Carl's aware of that. He's not going to do anything, even though he'd like to get that lap back or get in position to make that happen.
Whoa,
we see David Reagan.
Oh no,
Matt Kenseth.
Wow. And he gets contacted by the 17 car of Kenseth.
That was us there, guys. Got loose in. Kenseth slid into the left front. Didn't hit anything else.
Caution again now for the 5th time, and the guy we're talking about trying to get in the chase, David Reagan.
They're going down or something. I'll bring it to you.
Is the one that brought it out.
Not only him, but Matt Kenseth is not locked into this thing by any stretch of the imagination. He's got a lot of damage too.
Yeah, David Reagan's got a lot of damage. Well, you see the damage here on the 17 car. You can get away with some damage if you can clear all the tires.
Kenseth needed to finish 26th or better to get in the chase.
We still have 43 cars out here, even though A.J. Allmendinger's back on the track is way down. We see David Reagan just get loose. Matt Kenseth was running that high line. Got into him. A lot of damage for both of those Rouse cars.
Yeah, a couple of team cars, and boy, Kenseth trying to get it woe down, just slid broadside into it.
You know, as much as we talked about Casey Kane not having a good day, he has remained on the lead lap, and with this type of thing right here happen, it could bring him back into the mix of this. That's 3 Rouse cars in turn 1 that have had problems.
Good job.
Yeah, we just had Biffle on the previous yellow. Here comes the 6 down, the damage of the 17 trying to limp down pit road.
There was oil or something getting into one. We both hit it and spun out at the same time.
Yeah, Kenseth said there was oil down there. I think Biffle might agree.
You know, as bad as that all looked for Reagan, it looks like Kenseth is actually in the worst spot as far as damage goes.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, DJ. Here's a 6 car of Reagan right now in the pits, and he had mentioned too, he thought maybe he had a tire go down or something, and I think Matt's comments back up the fact that there was something, maybe oil or something in turn 1, because Reagan said it just got out from under him, felt like a tire down, but it may have been oil.
David Reagan limping back onto the racetrack. Good AAA sponsorship there. He's always got a record nearby if he needs it. He doesn't want it today, though, after the damage there in turn 1 again. 3rd Roush car to have trouble in the same spot in turn 1. David Reagan getting sideways. Lap 122. And his teammate Matt Kenseth pops him in the side. They have both been on and off pit road green when we come back. Getting set for the restart here at Richmond, Virginia, Richmond International Raceway. Caution number 5. The 17 and 6 have been on and off pit road a couple of times to repair some of the damage. They are being shown in 32nd and 33rd position, respectively. Still on the lead lap. The 00 of Michael McDowell able to get the free pass to put him back on the lead lap as well. Earnhardt Jr. brings him down. Harvick, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Boyer the top 5.
These restarts, a lot of the problems come from guys that their cars primarily have been running good on the bottom, and they're forced up into that outside lane, and they really don't handle that well up there, and so it's making some mistakes by these guys.
And kind of vice versa. Some of the guys have been running good on the high side and caught down on the bottom. So a lot of guys just running where they don't want to be.
see Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch there. Denny Hamlin is one of those guys that's caught up there. He's been running the bottom of the racetrack most of the time. And he's on the outside of these lap cars that are trying to stay in that position, racing extremely hard. Patrick Carpentier on the inside of him right there.
We told you that it's been a flurry of trouble for the Roush cars. Let's check in and talk to Jack himself. Jamie.
3 cars with damage. Jack, first of all, I'll ask you, what did you see happen with Greg Biffle's car?
You know, he didn't comment. It just looked to me like he got out from underneath of him, but pretty much the same thing happened with the 6. And David really didn't complain, neither did Greg, but naturally said he got to his oil on the track. So he apparently felt the same thing that David felt.
Do you think David's going to be okay and be able to rebound and make his way in?
I have no idea.
It's racing. It's going to be suspenseful. We're going to watch these cars. Guys, the 16 of Greg Biffle right now, his toe is knocked out. They're going to have to come back in after just getting a speeding penalty.
Jamie, David Reagan, Matt Kenseth, Biffle, and if you add the 99 troubles to the right side tire, 4 of the 5 Roush guys have had trouble here in the first 125 laps.
It was just coincidental. I mean, the 6 and the 17 just happened to be running right together.
Many times we've seen those guys dominate the top 10. We have a lot of racing going on here. 3 wide.
And these guys are bouncing off each other.
They have been working on Casey Kane's car, taking advantage of these yellow flags. DJ, you were noticing them coming on pit road, making some adjustments.
Hey, these guys aren't giving up. They realize now that there's an opportunity here possibly. They don't know how much damage the 17 has and if he's going to be able to run. So this is an opportunity for him to get back at it. As we see Kevin Harvick trying to go to the bottom side of Dale Jr. here and take the lead back.
He has run Junior down and now runs by Junior coming off of turn 2 to retake the lead. Harvick had led twice for 42 laps early in this race.
That was a classic case of just give and take. Those guys just working together, and it looked like the 29 was just a little faster than Junior.
Matt Kenseth came in here 9th in the points. Told you that he had to finish 26th or better or 28th if he were to lead a lap. And we asked Matt about the pressure of what has to happen today in getting in the chase.
There is pressure, but I don't really put any extra pressure on the team or myself or any of that. You know, the points pay the same from Daytona all the way to Richmond. So you try to do your best you can every week and not necessarily worry about the points, just worry about things you can control, how fast your car runs, you know, finish as high as you can, do that type of stuff.
And guys, we've been tracking the points picture down here in the pit studio just to see what could happen. Could Matt Kenseth get knocked out of this championship by Casey Kane? Because remember, David Reagan right at the screen there is also struggling. Well, Casey Kane would have to finish 2nd and lead a lap, and Matt Kenseth finished last in order for Kane to knock Kenseth out of this championship. But obviously, as long as David Reagan is still on that track, the 13th place guy in points, Matt Kenseth is not free and clear quite yet.
The one thing though right now is he's able to see the 6 car, and they're both struggling. So as long as the 6 car doesn't get away from him too much, I think the 17's plenty safe. Dave?
Andy, I think you talked about it. A tire rub is the big thing that these guys have to watch out for. The 17 car, Matt Kenseth, he reported that he smelled something. The guys, his spotter and the guys on pit road said, we don't see anything right now. We will monitor it closely, but Matt reporting smoke in the cockpit, and they'll have to keep an eye on that.
As of now, you would see Casey Kane has moved into 13th position. He is actually 18th on the racetrack. There's the 6 car of David Reagan, and of course his teammate, the 17 of Kenseth, back in 32nd and 33rd. Side-by-side battle here. A couple of former Cup champions, Jimmy Johnson, the reigning champion, and 2-time champ Tony Stewart. 6th and 7th. They each want 6th. Neither one of them want 7th.
Yeah, this is not a typical Tony Stewart deal of running middle and high part of the racetrack. He's usually down on that bottom of slick racetrack, not turning the steering wheel much.
And that's exactly what I was thinking when you said it. Usually you see Tony either on the yellow line or below it with his left side tires. And here you see him running the high line pretty well.
Tony takes his spot away. He's got very good memories of this place. Tony Stewart, a 3-time winner at Richmond, including his very first career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series victory here back in 1999. Back up front, Kevin Harvick had not led a lap in NASCAR Sprint Cup competition since the end of June. he is making up for it here at Richmond today. Coming off back-to-back top 5 finishes at Bristol and California, it is Kevin Harvick showing the way at lap 142. Lots of motorsports action yet to come your way here. The upcoming schedule later today, NASCAR Nationwide Series action here at Richmond over on ESPN2 at 6:30 Eastern Time. Joey Logano will lead them down to the green flag. NASCAR Now will wrap up all the action of the day at 9:30 Eastern Time. NASCAR Now Roundtable, Alan Bestwick and the boys, tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. And then next week, race number 1 in the NASCAR Sprint Cup chase for the championship, presented by GoDaddy.com on ABC Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time from New Hampshire. 5-car, Casey Mears moving his way up. That is the Cheez-It Chevrolet. Casey, of course, leaving Rick Hendrick after 2008. He will become a full-time driver in the 07 for Richard Childress Racing in 2009. And Clint Boyer will move over to the 33 car next year.
Yeah, Casey having a pretty decent day. He's in 15th right now, battling Martin Truex. Actually just moved into the 14th spot as he's trying to hold Truex off. Good battle.
Still got 33 cars on the lead lap. Matt Kenseth still showing as the final car on the lead lap.
There's not enough laps now that you see that high line coming in some too, for a lot of these guys.
There's Casey Kane in the 9 car. We've been following his progress in 9th position. Kyle Busch in the 18 car. Here's a surprise. Kyle's starting to get a little aggressive here about the halfway point.
All about winning for that team. We heard him talk about it. They've got nothing to lose, just going for it. He's got that high line going pretty well. Been watching him the last few laps. His car has been really, really fast. We see just up in front of him, the 29 and the 88 are up against the wall, but Kyle Busch has been the fastest car. Mike, you have more?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a handful for him so far today, DJ. Started off way too loose, but there's now another concern. A partially sticking throttle, he thinks. He says when he depresses the accelerator by about 1/8 of an inch and then brings it up slowly, it starts to stick. Steve Addington told him, do we need to fix it? He said, no, not right now, but he wants to keep him honest, but certainly it has to be reason for concern, I would think. Tim Brewer can certainly explain it a little bit better. He's with the Chevy Cutaway car.
There's nothing more irritating to a race car driver when that throttle doesn't respond properly. But what we do here, we actually raise this thing up. Sometimes the throttle will drag right there on the edge. That'll make it stick a little bit. But my experience, these heim joints right here, you've got one in the front and one in the rear. But if you don't put a little bit of lubrication on these things before the race and make them work real smooth, that might be just a point right there where the thing might be sticking.
I could hear that one squeaking a little bit, Tim. Maybe you ought to give it a little bit of lube.
And DJ, the good thing is that NASCAR a few years ago had to allow the drivers to put put a bar across the top of their toe on the pedal, the throttle pedal, that you did have some hope of pulling it back if it starts to stick.
Yeah, you can do that, but it sure disrupts your rhythm. Not that it seems to be bothering him right now. It looks like throttle sticking's helping him a little bit as fast as he's going. But yeah, it is an aggravating thing, and it's a good thing that they have that bar there. As we see the 07 and 48 having a battle here. Clint Boyer is kind of doing exactly what he needs to do here today. He's racing hard when he needs to, but not taking any unnecessary chances.
Yeah, with that 6 car having problems, he can at least breathe a little bit right here, just kind of get in rhythm and kind of focus on these other cars, not so much about them.
Got an 88-point bulge right now over Casey Kane, who's running back in 19th position. These two guys, by the way, the 48 and 07, are battling for 6th position. Jimmy Johnson currently has it. Kevin Harvick is our leader at Richmond International Raceway. We have had 6 different leaders, 7 lead changes. We've had 5 cautions for 25 laps, and Harvick now has led a total of 67 laps.
It's the start of a new era in Green Bay as Aaron Rodgers takes over against the dynamic Adrian Peterson and division rival Minnesota. Then Jay Cutler and Denver make their opening statement as Jamarcus Russell, rookie star Darren McFadden serve the youth for Oakland. It's Vikings-Packers, Broncos-Raiders, a doubleheader. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern on Monday Night Football.
Trouble here at Richmond, the 42 car.
Spun out, boys.
Juan Pablo Montoya, the 19 car. Elliott Sadler also having spun around. And a little damage on the right front there with Elliott and his Dodge.
Yeah, that's a huge break for David Reagan. He had just gone down a lap, and he'll get the free pass with this caution. But it's a terrible break here for the 19 car of Elliott Sadler. This guy's racing 3 wide down in the corner, which we've seen a lot, but looks like Montoya got in the wall before they got there.
Yeah, that was a little strange. I didn't see a tire down, but that's what it looked like may have happened.
Michael Waltrip's on board watching the 42.
One back. Leader now.
He was all the way up against the wall.
Yeah. Come down, come down, come down, come down, come down, come down.
So watch the 19 here and see what happens with him.
Couldn't quite figure out what happened to Sadler because he wasn't involved in the contact with Montoya.
Caution number 6, and Earnhardt Jr. will lead Kyle Busch, Harvick, Hamlin, and company on the pit road. There is Elliott Sadler's damaged right front tire that's cut down.
Yeah, just a flat tire. Jamie?
Well, Jeff Burton been riding around in the top 10, 8th right now, so the car's not turning as well, and that's ironic because they're actually testing some new things out to get this car to turn better. They're going to raise that track bar 2 rounds. Shannon?
Dale Jr. this 88, they put air in the right side last pit stop. Well, they're taking it back out. Dale Jr. wants his car just how they unloaded on this track today. Mike.
Kevin Harvick in. He's saying his car's a little bit loose in and loose off. They'll make a wedge adjustment on the left side of that car. 4 tires there. In front of him, Kyle Busch is now away after a 4-tire stop. Still a little bit of frustration on his team. They're not happy with the way their stops have gone so far today, Doc.
A little bit of frustration there with Kyle Busch trying to lead the pits. There's Kevin Harvick. Boy, Harvick and Earnhardt were racing. Looked like a drag race down the quarter mile to the exit of pit road. And
we could hardly tell from here that it was all the way around the corner, but it looked close.
Watch these guys try to get out of their pits and come down. It's almost like they're looking over like, there is the 88. Watch a 29 come into your picture.
All about inches.
Yeah, these 2 pit crews are doing a good job.
Earnhardt Jr., the first car off pit road, and again, you cannot mention that the David Reagan did get the free passes back on the lead lap. We were at lap 168 of the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 here at Richmond. Let's show you what happened to the 19 car of Elliott Sadler. Had the right front tire down. Let's show you where the contact occurred.
If you go down into turn 3 right here, you see how he gets just a little bit of contact right here on that right front. These guys race 3 wide down the front straightaway. Then we see Montoya actually just get in the wall. Looks like he almost just drove it in the wall going into turn 1. Brings out the caution flag, and then on around the corner here, the 19 car has a flat tire and spins out.
Oh, that's I'm sure how all of that happened as we've gone back to green here. Just heading down into turn 3.
Earnhardt Jr. holding off Harvick. There's Kyle Busch on the outside of Robbie Gordon. Rowdy on the outside of Robbie. There's Denny Hamlin behind Kyle Busch. The 99 car a lap down trying to get his lap back. He could not hang on to Harvick and Earnhardt, who pulled away.
These guys. Talking about the 17 car getting a black flag. Got some sheet metal or something dangling from the back of it.
There's the 17 coming back on the pit road. By the way, he did lead a lap. Kenseth led a lap on this previous caution flag. Stayed out, so that gives him the 5 bonus points.
Yeah, here we go. He's got a panel. That's a crush panel from the inside the wheel well of the right rear that's coming loose.
Yeah, Andy, we talked about that earlier whenever he was smelling some smoke. That's probably why those crush panels are gone and thing when he hit the walls. We see Kevin Harvick trying to take the lead back.
Well, if history holds true, after a pit stop, Harvick has the quick car for about 30 laps, and then the fuse is lit on the 88 car as he just comes roaring by. That's the scenario we've seen thus far.
So that's what, we'll see how that works out. Now, this track's always changing, but that's what we've seen so far. Is Harvick get out there pretty good ways, and then you get this 88 car getting going pretty good.
Aerial coverage from high above Richmond, brought to you by our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. 17 car going a lap down. The leaders flash by. Kenseth, who had to come on the pit road by virtue of the black flag to get that crush panel peeled away. 07 car, Clint Bowyer, in working traffic as well. He is currently being shown in 8th position behind the 31 of Jeff Burton and in front of Jeff Gordon. Shannon.
Yeah, talk about being precise on that last pit stop. The 07 made an air pressure adjustment. How much? 0.031. That's how close they are to getting this set up right in that 07. His spotter, Mike Dillon, telling him to save his tires on the restarts, just roll through the turns. He needs those tires for the end of the run.
You know what? I might buy the 0.3, but I'm not buying the 3.1. I don't think that last 100's going to make that much difference.
He has a lot better feel on race car than I ever had. I don't know about point. I mean, and obviously they're looking at what has happened before and how much buildup and stuff. So that doesn't seem like much of a change to me. But they're the ones getting ready to make the chase if they continue on here.
Bubble tracker, now the 17 car. Kenseth being shown a lap down on the bubble, running in 40th position. David Reagan in 29th, Casey Kane in 22nd.
Now, the only thing Matt Kenseth can feel even decent about is that Reagan is struggling, and so is Casey Kane. So David Reagan's car has a lot of damage still, and he's just not able to go very fast.
178 laps in the books. Dale Earnhardt Jr. came oh so close to winning a race back here in May. He said, I'm going to bring the same race car, and maybe I'll get to run those final 2 laps without getting a bump from behind. Back in just a moment.
The Chevy Rock and Roll 400 rolls on, approaching its midway point at the Richmond International Raceway. NASCAR started using this chase for the Cup format in 2004. Only 2 drivers have made all previous editions of the championship set that way. Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson. We're going to make it again. Johnson 3rd in points, and Matt Kenseth right now showing 12th in points. Had some troubles today, but he's still in fairly good shape to make this championship pending the second half of this race. Why don't we update where those 12 potential championship chasers are and some of their closest pursuers in this race right now, starting with leader Kevin Harvick. Mike, what are they saying?
Well, real happy with the race car, and especially considering the way practice went for them the other day. Todd Berrier, the crew chief, told me they really struggled during that 2 hours. They had a brake problem and didn't really diagnose it until practice was over. They realized they had made a mistake. They changed their brake system, and it really seems like that was obviously the right thing to do. They're real happy with their race car right now, Shannon.
Yeah, right now Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying he has a little chatter in the left front on that car. He says he still needs work on the exit of those turns. Now, for the past couple weeks, Tony Eury Jr. had been going with a different setup on these cars, but for this race, as Dale Jr. is battling Kevin Harvick for the lead right there, and Dale Jr. takes the lead from Kevin Harvick. For this race, they decided to go back to the setup that they ran here in Richmond. Not that they've completely given up on going a different way, but Tony Eury Jr. said we just need to work on that other setup a little bit more. Mike.
Well, Shannon, you know I caught up with Kyle Busch's crew chief, Steve Addington, this morning, and I asked him, what do you remember most from the spring race? He just kind of laughed, and he said, that's the day that Kyle became the most hated man in NASCAR. We laughed about it a little bit, but he did say there was a positive. He said that really fired him up, it fired this team up, and they come back here to Richmond looking for atonement, Shannon.
Yeah, Mike, one word from Denny Hamlin's camp right now, loose. You know, I spoke with his crew chief, Mike Ford, this morning. They said they came into this race 11th in the point standings, and while they'll certainly watch the drivers who are around them in the points every lap in this race, he said if we do what we have to do, if we stay up front, then there's nothing that we have to worry about. Mike.
I didn't have to remind Chad Knaus, the crew chief for Jimmy Johnson this morning, that this was the time on the schedule last year when they began to catch fire. They really gained some momentum. Off the win last week in California, Knaus feels like they are starting to peak. They're right where they want to be. As far as the car condition on the 48 right now, a little bit tight center, free off, but otherwise pretty good. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart, this is a team still looking for its first win of the season. And where better for it to come than here in Richmond? Tony says this racetrack is not one of his favorite tracks. It is his absolute favorite track. And you can't blame him. He has 5 career victories here, 3 in the Cup Series. He's pretty happy with his car. It was tight earlier. They put a spring rubber in the right rear, and it seems to have made a little bit of a difference. He's pretty happy with it right now, Jamie.
Well, Mike, that's interesting that Tony Stewart says this is his favorite racetrack. Jeff Burton says the same, and he says it's not because I'm from Virginia, this is his home track, but he loves how this race produces. He said there's always exciting things happening. We run side by side, we can battle for the fans, we have a great time, and he says the situation he's in, being clinched in the chase, is a luxury for him. He gets to go out and have fun. He said that situation my teammate Cliff Boyer's in, no fun at all. Shannon?
Yeah, Jamie, Cliff Boyer currently running 8th. I told you about that track saying that is the only guy that we have to beat here today. Gil Martin said that's not what he's going to do here today. Unless, of course, Clint starts to get excited and concerned about where he's running, then he'll do everything he can to calm his driver. Mike.
Shannon, before the last round of pit stops, Jeff Gordon was complaining that he just had no drive off. They went to work on the car. They made a wedge adjustment, a track bar adjustment, air pressure, and 4 tires. Gordon has responded saying, we hurt the middle with that change. We're still loose in and loose off. We need to fix it next time down pit road, Jamie.
Well, the good news for Greg Biffle, you see there in the 16 back in 30th. The bad news is he's in the back. The good news, he's clinched his spot in the chase, but they thought they had a really good car. Greg Irwin, his crew chief, told me after last weekend's performance where they finished second, this whole team got boosted. They loved how they performed in the pits on the racetrack, but guys, they got that damage. They've already pitted 6 times, and they still have that toe knocked out on the right front. Dave?
Well, still a pretty good race car for Carl Edwards. He's been fighting to get in position for the free pass or being the lucky dog. I believe he's gotten to that point now. If the caution would come out, he needs to get back around and get that back on the lead lap. The car just a little tight in the center, a little snappy off. The best news, of course, is that he is locked into the chase at this point. His teammate Matt Kenseth, not the same situation. Right now, battling on the racetrack and loose off of that corner, trying to keep it under control. It matters where the others finish. And competition director Robbie Loomis is on site today, overseeing all the operations of the cars. This is his biggest to handle right now. He's been in the chase before. He's been not in the chase before with Matt as his crew chief. And today, he's got to help Robbie Reiser, has got to help make his way into the chase. I think I misspoke, but you guys know which Robbie he is.
Very nice catch there, David. Robbie Reiser indeed showing that old scowl, stomping up and down pit road. He's got it all under control. So the big story of the day today, besides what's been a pretty good race up front for the lead, Kyle Busch, now Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick for, this would be for 3rd place with Hamlin going by. Would be our Sprint Cup monster moment. David Reagan hitting something, getting loose, turn 1.
David gets up there, he wrinkles up that right rear fender like an old pork rind, but he gets in the pits and gets back out. He's still trying.
Matt Kenseth getting collected with him. Of course, Reagan, first driver out of the chase. Matt Kenseth right now, last driver in. For more monster moments, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile. Just a couple laps away from halfway as the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series gets set to wrap up the regular season at Richmond International Raceway. Next week, the first of the 10 races to chase a championship.
Back at Richmond, caution number 7 on the day. Sam Hornish's Dodge just spun around. There was some contact up out of turn 4 with the 1 car, Martin Truex Jr. Sam trying to get it refired. There's Martin. He has refired and joined the fray. But we are under a yellow once again. Here's what happened.
Yeah, it looked like Martin Truex got down in here and he tried to get back to the gas roll. You can see him right behind the 78. Gets a little bit loose starting there, but it looked like he tried to turn the car down. Got a little bit loose, and then the 77, I believe, made just a little bit of contact.
And both of them go around here. It's like the 77 of Sam Hornish got the worst of this. Martin Truex just spun his around and kept going.
Tell you who got the best of it was, as you watch this spin here on the 1 and the 77, Carl Edwards gets back on the lead lap. The 99 car gets the free pass. And leaders head the pit road. Jamie.
And Jeff Burton comes in 8th position still. He just says the rear grip is not where it needs to be, so they're going to go back in on that wedge and a little air pressure adjustment just to help out that loose condition. Shannon?
Yeah, Jamie, Dale Jr. still struggling with forward bite. The tires are also chattering a little bit on exit. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and 4 tires for the 88 fuel team, Sunoco fuel as well. Mike?
Steve Addington and Kyle Busch talking about adjustments, talking about freeing it up in the center a little bit. Kyle called them off. He said that'll probably hurt our exit. A 4-tire change and an air pressure adjustment on the 18.
Race off of pit road. Kyle Busch began today with some frustration in the pits by virtue of his sliding through the pits. Tony Stewart up a couple. Jimmy Johnson up. Denny Hamlin will lose 3 positions. So they're coming off of pit road. Why don't we go over the wall with the onboard high-definition camera. DJ Kopp, the rear tire changer for Kyle Petty.
Got a good run going here in the top 20. Key is no mistakes. Keep him running good. 4, 5. Gas man, hold, help me out.
McDonald's race rundown and a recap of what's happened in the first half of today's race. David Reagan running excellent in the opening run of the race. Got boxed in on pit road there early, lost several spots, came back up. That wasn't the end of his problems. Little strategy early on to get some bonus points for leading laps by some of the guys trying to make the chase, like Jeff Gordon.
Oh, got to do what you do to get it done. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he paid for it, though, later on.
Yeah, just those 2 tires, he kind of slipped back. Then some trouble for some of the guys on the bubble. David Reagan.
I'm going to tell you what, David Reagan had trouble. Matt Kenseth had trouble. We saw Greg Biffle. These guys have been in the eye of the storm all day long. They're really struggling, but they're in the back. Maybe they can work their way back towards the front.
Carl Edwards had a flat tire earlier, too. He's just gotten back on the lead lap. That's some of what's happened in the first half of today's race in our McDonald's race rundown. Doc?
31 cars on the lead lap here at Richmond International Raceway. The weekend began with a wandering eye of Hurricane Hannah, later a tropical storm Hannah, dumping some rain in the area. But that's moved away. It is a beautiful day for racing here NASCAR style on the Sunday afternoon short track at Richmond. Set for the restart, Kyle Busch. We have had 8 different leaders, 14 lead changes. He will bring them down to the green flag.
Dale Jr. not letting him get too far away right there, but this hasn't been Dale Jr.'s strong suit on these restarts.
If he could just stay close here in these first 25 to 30 laps, and he could just really, motor on in that high groove later in the run.
Matt Kenseth at the 17, pinned down to the inside. He's being shown 2 laps down in 39th position.
And that got a little loose there as you see Dale Jr. dive to the inside. He'll be able to make it stick down there. Kyle Busch has a little momentum, takes it back.
Remember, these are the 2 guys that got together with 2 laps to go here in May. It was Junior who was leading and Kyle Busch who was running second.
Well, if this was going on about 185 laps from now, we might see a different scenario as what's going to happen here right now. But I think they're going to race pretty clean at this point in time.
Are you implying that Junior might remember that?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know how good his memory is, but I'm pretty sure he can remember back to May. It's really impressive. He's able to hang this time. They've been working on that car.
They got together.
And Kyle Busch goes around.
Didn't wait 185 laps, Dale.
Yeah, I guess I was wrong about that.
I think you meant 2 laps.
Twice today, I meant.
That didn't look intentional to me.
That's all right.
It looked like they were just racing hard.
Well, if Junior wasn't the most popular even before, he's pretty popular right now as these fans stand and cheer here.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough break for Kyle. He's got a lot of damage there.
Let's go back in time and show you what we were talking about. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was leading here with 2 laps to go. Back in May, Kyle Busch making a run under him in turn 3. There's the contact.
That was late in the race.
Clint Boyer able to get by. He ended up winning the race. There's the contact.
See the 18 just get loose on the inside of him there and trying to correct it, got up into Junior.
Now here moments ago, there's the 88 behind the 18, this time entering 1.
Well, you see Dale Jr. hit the brakes real hard, locked the left front up. Looked like he tried to stay off of Kyle in that particular instance.
Yeah, and you had the 18 coming down to make his entrance into the corner. I'm not sure that he really thought Junior was up that far.
I know that looked like a payback, but it looked like just hard racing to me.
Well, there's certainly going to be different opinions.
One inside, stay low, keep digging there. Caution's not out.
All Kyle Busch knows is he got hit and he wrecked his car.
Let's check out our Allstate Good Hands move of the race. You see Kyle Busch going up across. Look at Tony Stewart just getting by.
Kevin Harvick also.
Jimmy Johnson was there. Tony Stewart was there. And there's the damage on the back of the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Trying to get repairs to the Toyota. He was leading. Now he is on pit road. Caution number 8 on the day. Under caution for the 8th time at the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond. It has been a lot of rock and a little bit of roll. We've had a lot of contact here thus far with 8 yellow flags, the latest involving Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car and the 18 car of Kyle Busch. Here again is what happened just a couple of moments ago.
We can see Kyle Busch Jr. dives to the inside, and I'm not sure. I don't believe Kyle really thought that he was there, because you can see him come down across the front. Now, I'm not trying to say it was anybody's fault there, or to say that Junior wasn't at fault at all, because he got in there awful hard and you saw him lock up the brakes. So it just didn't look like he was expecting the 18 car to come down as we go back to green.
Earnhardt Jr. will lead him down. Kyle Busch, by the way, on and out pit road to get that damage repaired. Did not lose a lap. He is in 32nd spot, the last car on the lead lap.
Okay, we saw how far the 88 car slid that left front tire to stay off of Kyle Busch. We kind of wonder if he flat spotted that tire, but we'll know here in a few laps if he's got a vibration or not.
You can see the 18 car blending into the field there as they came by.
Bobby Labonte got the free pass, and he's back on the lead lap also. It will be interesting to see if that creates a problem. We see these guys racing. Tony Stewart, who's trying to get that first win of the season, up in second now.
It's been 39 races since Tony Stewart's been to victory lane. Likewise, Kevin Harvick hasn't won since February of 2007 at Daytona. There's Tony holding on to second spot.
Junior's car seems to be a lot better on the restarts here on the tires when they're fresher and the air pressure's down than what we've seen in the first half of this race.
Well, I think the reason is because Kevin Harvick was the guy to beat on the restarts, and now he's kind of back in traffic. It was a relative thing. I think Harvick's car got going pretty well on these restarts. It took a while for Junior's car to come around and get back by him. And then the 18 car was one of the stronger cars too on the restart.
The two winningest active drivers here at Richmond are Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart. Each of them have won 3 times, and they are running 1-2. Here's the 07 car who won here back in the spring. Clint Bowyer right in front of his teammate Jeff Burton.
Yeah, once again, Bowyer's kind of doing everything that he needs to do, and really David Reagan, after being involved in that accident, his only hope is if something should happen to Clint Bowyer. But
actually, Clint needs to be conservative right here. He just doesn't need to make a mistake and fall out of this race. If he just has a good, solid finish, anywhere in the league lap is going to get him in this chase.
That sounds like an easy thing to do, just be conservative, but you've got so much racing going on out here. Sometimes it just becomes difficult for that to do.
Did you ever tell Earnhardt to be conservative?
I told him. He never was.
Well, that's what I thought.
He didn't listen to me all the time.
What you have to do here is just kind of find yourself a hole and pick your battles. And, as you can see right in front of him here, they're 3 wide, so that's a situation that he has to be really careful of at this point in time. We're speaking of Clint Bowyer, who's trying to race his way into the chase. He's actually in the 11th spot in the chase right now. Shannon?
Yeah, you guys are talking about being conservative. The word of the day of the 07 camp was patience. That was what Mike Dillon, his spotter, told him before this race. They're also being pretty conservative on pit road. I told you about that small air pressure adjustment they made 2 pit stops ago. Well, on that last pit stop, it was just 0.3 of a pound of air in that tire. So they're definitely being conservative on the track and on pit road.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier when you have a good race car to be, well, not very conservative there, but as he falls in behind Denny Hamlin, they're trying to go around Montoya. But when you have a good race car, it does make it easier to be what we might call a little more conservative or patient, as they're calling it.
Yeah, he backed out on the patience a moment ago. By the way, Montoya is a lap down in 34th position in front of these guys, the 11 and 07, who are 5th and 6th.
Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon battling right here, going around Elliott Sadler. Jeff Gordon's had just a good solid day and exactly what they needed here, and trying to race their way into the chase and get a little bit of momentum going before we get to Loudon next week.
Yeah, Jeff trying to qualify for his 4th chase, and here up front, Tony Stewart trying to take over the lead. Didn't quite get it done.
Yeah, this guy's spin off turn 4, Elliott Sadler.
Got another flat tire on the right front.
Right front's down. Take it easy. Right front is down. Take it easy. Yeah, good shape on the pace car. Good shape on the pace car. Be coming at you guys.
9th yellow flag of today. Elliott also a victim earlier with the same issue in the right front tire. Cutting a tire and spinning almost in the same spot.
Right before this happened, we had a new player, Tony Stewart. And that gang, they've got that thing going good. He was headed to the front.
I think you mentioned something about that before we started this race, didn't you? That he was a guy to watch out for?
Slick racetrack is something he likes.
Elliott Sadler, one of the Virginia boys, not having a pretty good homecoming thus far today, at the back of Jeff Burton's car.
Stand behind you, keep coming. Caution's out, caution's out.
Yeah. You see that right front going. I don't know if he'd been into somebody. We knew that happened last time.
Wave them off behind you, wave.
Elliott's on pit road right now, and is unfortunately going to lose another lap to the leaders.
That's really two identical spins, one off turn 2 and another one off turn 4 for Elliott.
Denny Hamlin on pit road, as is his teammate Kyle Busch, and others coming down. Shannon.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's going to take 4 tires, guys. He really has been battling loose conditions all day. Now, of course, he led many, many laps back in May with a dominant car. And, of course, a cut tire ended his day. 4 tires as you see those guys going around to the left side for Denny Hamlin. Mike.
And Kyle Busch back on pit road. The repairs continue there. They continue to pound on the rear deck lid. They continue putting more bear bond on. They've already tried to fix the sticking throttle from earlier, and they've really gone to work on the cosmetic damage, but there's certainly some significant damage beneath the sheet metal that may prevent the 18 car from being competitive any longer this afternoon, guys.
You know, I'm not so sure. I wouldn't count them out just yet because I watched them out there. They weren't terrible on the racetrack. If they can get some of these laps or this lap back, they might be a contender still.
Let's listen in to the radio for Earnhardt Jr.
Well, brake fans off. We will be staying out. All right. Got a pretty bad vibration in the left front, but if you don't think it'll blow out, we'll be all right.
Yes, they're going to roll the dice here and kind of keep Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the racetrack, currently being shown as the leader. Back at Richmond, getting set for the green flag here, finishing up caution number 9, Dale Earnhardt Jr. You heard the concern over the vibration. They did not pit. The top 16 car stayed on the racetrack, as a matter of fact. 17th on back, came on the pit road. And right now that 17th place car would be Denny Hamlin. Here's Hamlin's teammate, Tony Stewart, resuming the charge toward the front, see if he can handle the 88 car of Earnhardt Jr.
He pretty much had the pass made before the caution came out. It might take him a lap or 2 to get back up there to him, but the 20 car's got the best car right now.
Andy, what do you think about the call to lead Junior out there?
I don't like it. I would have had him in because we saw how much that left front tire slid. That was a perfect opportunity to come down pit road, and probably a lot of guys would have followed him down, and then it would have been fine for him. But I think they missed an opportunity to get on pit road.
38 slipped up a little bit there. He gathers it back in. David Gillen, by the way, the 99 car. Again, Carl Edwards back on the lead lap. He got the free pass a couple of yellows ago. There's the 6th car, David Reagan, who's had the contact with the wall. He's being shown in 24th position on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's been battling awful hard, but just can't seem to make up a lot of spots. His car's just not handling the way that he needs it to right now.
Bubble tracker shows Casey Kane moving all the way up to 12th position. Here goes Tony Stewart on the inside.
Wide for the lead.
Jimmy Johnson is there.
Here they are again off of turn 4, 3 wide. Junior backs out a little bit and gives them a little bit of room. Tony Stewart to the lead.
This 48 car's come to life.
Tony Stewart leading for the first time today. Jimmy Johnson has yet to lead a lap today, but hold on for just a moment. That could change.
We haven't talked a lot about the 48. Since the start of the race, he dropped back, and it looks like they've been adjusting on the car and maybe have something that Jimmy likes now.
He's not going to let you forget about it too long.
What I'm seeing is him really ease that car into the corner, kind of floated in, as Rusty likes to say, down into turn 1. He said you had to be careful with that spot. Now watch him just kind of floated in there, but get to the gas and carry a lot of speed off the corner.
Well, I tell you, a lot of times you're right. You can't get in that corner real deep. Sometimes you got to float that car in, let that front end set, let the suspension work, then pick the throttle up nice and easy and a good straight drive off. And guys, a lot of times you can make a lot of passes up off the corners by doing it that way. It's always worked for me.
That is 6-time, by the way, Richmond winner, Rusty Wallace, who still holds the record for top 5s and top 10s and laps led, by the way, on this configuration racetrack that went to 3/4 of a mile back in '88. Jimmy Johnson looking inside the 20 again, coming off of turn 2.
Tony Stewart get a really good bite off of that corner, though. His car's working good, kind of right in the center. He's not on the bottom. He's not really up the top where we've seen the 88 and the 29 get a few times, but but still getting a good bite off the corner.
It's a great 3-car race. I think Junior's going to sneak back in the picture here once he gets some more laps on these tires and he gets that high groove working.
Jimmy Johnson led 228 of 250 laps just in dominant fashion a week ago at California.
Guys, I'll tell you one thing I've noticed since the start of this race has really changed a lot. This track is a lot blacker, much blacker. Spin off the corner, Kyle Busch.
It is the 18 of Kyle Busch, Rusty, who was being shown a lap down when he had the restart. He blended back in and lost a lap.
We've seen him do some of these, but they're usually after the race when he wins doing these big burnouts. We couldn't even see the car over there.
Andy, this is playing right into something you mentioned a while ago. I'm going to give you credit. The 11 car, Denny Hamlin, came down on that last caution, got tires, and these other guys are now, I believe, going to be forced to come in and get tires. And I believe Denny Hamlin might stay out there and be the leader.
It's an opportunity now for them to kind of swap this up on them and stay out. You know these leaders are coming down. They need to come down this time. They've only run about 10 laps since these other guys took 15 laps.
To the back of them earlier.
Denny Hamlin came out of the pits, by the way, in 17th position when they went to the restart a few minutes ago. He has climbed all the way to 6th with fresh tires.
Yeah, they've been battling a really loose race car, and things seem to be a lot better for him right there because he had tires versus a lot of other guys that didn't. But
what happened to Kyle Busch? Let's see if Elliott Sadler, there was some contact there.
Yeah, a little bit of contact. Look at this. He does a great job to keep it off the wall.
Yeah, these guys are hitting pit road here.
But the 11 car came too. Looks like all these guys are coming down pit road.
Jamie?
Yep. Jeff Burton, guys, 41 years old, comes down pit road. He's in his pit box there. He just said he's loose on entry and exit. The car changing up just a bit. Air pressure adjustment, 4 tires for the 31. Dave?
Kurt Busch into the top 10 running. 8, he'll pit for 2 right side tires and try to get off pit road. A little slow behind the 17. Shannon.
Dale Jr. needs a little help off 4 tires for the 88. Mike.
Tony Stewart just a little bit tight. They'll make a track bar adjustment. 4 tires and Sunoco race fuel. He's away.
Great pit stop for Denny Hamlin's bunch. They got in. Jimmy Johnson likewise getting out. Tony Stewart as we work caution for the 10th time here at lap 243. Back at Richmond under caution, take a look at the standings. A little bit of a jumble now by virtue of David Reagan staying on the racetrack and Clint Boyer coming on the pit road. They have shuffled themselves. Reagan in the top 12 as of right now, 37 points above Clint Boyer. There's Reagan being shown in 8th position.
Clint Boyer's back in traffic on this restart. This is kind of a risky little restart for Clint. He needs to be really cool right here.
Yeah, way back in traffic. He's got a lot of cars in front of him. David Rudiman is our leader with Mark Martin behind him. Martin Truex in 3rd. Michael Waltrip 4th.
Rudiman, Martin Truex and company. In fact, the top 14 cars stayed on the racetrack. The others came back on the pit road, including Denny Hamlin, who came back in for 2 tires.
Yeah, that put him out ahead of Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson.
David Rudiman coming off that career best finish. A little bit of a jumble. Jimmy Johnson way up high coming off of turn 4. There's Rudiman trying to pull away in the 44 car.
Well, while we got the chance, let's talk about that. Michael Waltrip has all 3 of his cars in the top 5. We don't know that we've been able to say that very much, but they're all running well here today. And even though they stayed out, and that's how they got here, they're still able to hold on.
They have run well, put themselves in position to take advantage of this. Jamie?
Well, guys, Michael McDowell, the top running rookie right now, they stayed out obviously on that last stop. They worked their way up to 5th. Now, this is the first time he's been back in this car for the last 3 weeks. Remember, Mike Skinner got behind the wheel, tried to gain some points in the owner's run. They're 37th in owner points right now. But guys, I think Michael McDowell doing a pretty darn good job. What do you think for his second start here?
Doing a great job. Yeah, battling the boss there too.
Absolutely.
Right now, the double zero would be 33rd in owner points, but by virtue of where they're running on the racetrack. And I guess that's how you impress the boss. You just blow right by.
That's the best way. He got a good seat for it.
David
What's
Rudeman.
this?
Can't say enough about what that top 10 finish did for the 44 team at California a week ago when you talked to David and those guys in the garage area.
Yeah, a lot of good things happening with that race team and the driver. They all just really feel good about their position and things that are going on for them, that they can continue this improvement. Man, we got a lot of racing going on here.
Everywhere you look. Man.
There's the 6 car, David Reagan. Told you he's put himself in position now in the top 10 on being shown in 8th spot. Got a bit of a damaged Ford.
He's got it beat and banged up here, but they've been working on it every time they get a chance and making it pretty good.
20 and 11, Stewart and Hamlin being shown 10th and 11th. Bobby Labonte is also there. He's in front of them. Bobby Labonte in the 43 car who got back on the lead lap was being shown in 10th spot. Now Stewart able to go by.
Tony Stewart's the first car that has 4 tires from that last pit stop. The 11 car got 2, but he's only got about 12 laps on his left side tires. Mike?
Well, you mentioned the 4 fresh tires, and he's pretty deep in the field when you consider all those guys who stayed out, Andy. Well, it's an interesting position to be in, I would imagine. I'm sure DJ can elaborate on this. Greg Zipadelli had to remind him. He said, look, all those guys in front of you, they're not as good as you. Be patient, take care of your tires, but certainly a well-worthy reminder for that driver.
Well, you want to be patient, but sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes you just got to stick your nose in there and go. And I know Tony hasn't locked in yet, but he's in a position that he knows he has a fast race car, and he's just wanting to go.
Well, one of the problems is you can't always control your own destiny. You can be being patient out there doing what you need to do, and somebody else in front of you or around you is not being patient and get caught up in a wreck. That's the bad part about getting caught back in traffic.
Aerial coverage from high above Richmond International Raceway, brought to you by our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. It's been helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Get an idea from looking above why the drivers, many of the drivers and the fans say this is one of their all-time favorite racetracks to come and compete at and watch.
If you love racing, this is the track. There's racing all over this thing right now.
Yeah, we've got cameras everywhere. We just can't show you everything that's going on. It's just amazing to stand here and watch everything that's taking place.
Looking back from Jeff Burton's onboard camera, that's Burton is 11th. He's behind Earnhardt Jr. and behind him is David Reagan in that damaged Ford. Not bad. Got a little fender flap in there, part of some bear bond on the front, holding it together.
Yeah, but he's still slipping back, and that's the problem that he's going to have. Even though Clint Bowyer's still mired in traffic behind him, David's car is just not able to keep enough speed to keep those positions in between. It'll just be a matter of time before the 07 gets there. If he ever gets through everything he's in the middle of.
He's in a pretty tight spot right there, and you still, if you look at the points the way they run, Reagan is the one that's in. It's got to be putting a little pressure on Bowyer's camp.
David Rudman's still out front, as we see from Kevin Harvick here.
Yeah, Kevin trying to help his teammates cause a little bit, knowing he needs to get around that 6 car to put him back behind him one more spot. Harvick in the 29 car, who has led 80 laps. While Harvick's teammate Clint Bowyer is in the 07, mired back in traffic. There he is in 26th position. Casey came back there in 27th. Casey is, of course, the 9 car.
Just hard to believe how much difference that track position and being caught in this traffic, or how much it actually affects the car. The car really just won't run as fast when you put it back there, no matter what kind of tires you're on.
And then choosing the line, you know, it depends on where your car wants to go, and you might think that you're jumping in the right line, look like something's moving, then the next thing you know, that kind of stalls out, and the guys that you worked hard to pass, here they are coming back on the other side of you.
That happens to me on the interstate all the time. I always get in the wrong lane.
I don't want to know what you do, so don't tell us.
I'm patient.
Yeah, that's changed over the years, and I can assure you. David Rudman's jumped out to over a 2-second lead.
Rudeman, the 9th different leader. We have had 6 team lead changes. It has been that kind of day in the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 here at Richmond.
The Chevy Rock and Roll 400 ongoing for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Richmond International Raceway, 135 laps to go. David Ruderman is the race leader. And then next week, it begins. 10 races, 1 champion. The chase for the Sprint Cup begins with race number 1 in New Hampshire. Our coverage presented by GoDaddy.com. 1 Eastern Time, ABC next Sunday. Who's it going to be next week, and who's it going to be when those 10 races are upholding the big trophy? Well, David Ruderman has put a gap on second place Mark Martin. Some 3 1/3 seconds from the leader back to second. Let's update some of these drivers that are running up front right now, starting with Jamie.
Well, you know, they always talk about that momentum thing, Alan. And last week, David Ruderman had the best finish he's had in his career. Finished 9th at Fontana. I think that really gave his team a spark. Now, today didn't start off so great. They took 2 tires on that first stop. It set them back quite a bit. So that last stop, when most of the field came in, they stayed out. It was all about track position, guys, and David hasn't said a word since. Dave?
Jamie, Mark Martin stayed out last time as well. The last time he came in, we really didn't have a lot to complain about with the car, just bad traffic, made a wedge adjustment and 4 tires. But again, on this last stop, they did stay out for track position. Mike?
Dave, talking with Greg Zipadelli, crew chief for Tony Stewart this morning, he said today's race is going to be a crapshoot. He really did not know what to expect because he felt like they were better set up for a night race. Well, the car has come to life. It's a very good, and certainly Tony in a good position to end a 39-race winless streak, the longest of his career. Dave?
And Martin Truex Jr. running in the 4th position, recovering from that earlier spin with Sam Hornish. They took on just 2 tires the last time they stopped. That was not the last caution. They stayed out as well. And they took a spring rubber out of the right rear of that car. He had been quite loose, Jamie.
And behind him, Regan Smith again stayed out for that track position. He's leading the Rookie of the Year point standings. You know that's always key here. But Michael McDowell, that's been behind him now for the last few laps, is battling him for the Rookie of the Year position as well. But Regan Smith, for a second, go back. This guy's best finishes in his career have been on short track races. His last coming 14th at Bristol. So we got to keep our eye on him. Now Michael McDowell right behind him, as I mentioned, going for Rookie of the Year as well, battling with his teammates for Michael Waltrip Racing. Not saying a whole lot, guys. They got to the front, and it's all focus right now. Behind him, Jeff Burton's been riding around. He's been top 6, 7, 8 the entire race. Remember, he has clinched a spot in the chase, so he's just having fun, trying new things, trying to get that car to turn better for next week's race at Loudon. Shannon?
Yeah, Dale Jr., the car is really tightening up through the turns for him. He also says that those rear tires are spinning through those turns. You can see Junior hugging that wall. He has been up top all race long. In practice, Tony Eury Jr. told me that they actually worked the bottom of the race. He said if we're good there, we can be good on the top, and that's where they were hoping they would be a little less tight. Not happening right now. Mike?
Well, Shannon, for those of us who were standing on the sideline or watching on TV a week ago, it was easy to assess the strength of the 48 team. They looked dominant in California. So when I asked Chad Knaus this morning if they were peaking, I was a little bit surprised by his answer. He said, I hope we're not peaking. There's a lot of room for improvement. In fact, last week he felt like they could have improved upon their setup. That was his same feeling here this week, but he feels like they're pretty well set up for the chase. He's got all their cars lined up for these 10 races. It feels like this team is going to be tough to beat. Just trying to add some bonus points to the fold here this afternoon, Shannon.
Now, Mike, Denny Hamlin restarted 15th. Of course, he came down and took 2 tires. You know this hometown boy wants to go to victory lane here at Richmond more than anything. The car has been loose for him all day. When he restarted back in 15th, very aggravated, wanted to make his way to the front, and right now that's what Denny Hamlin's working on. Dave?
Shannon, Casey Mears has moved up to the 11th position. They actually came down pit road on that last stop. A 4-tire change for Casey. All day, the car has been tight on him at the start, and then the last few stops, no changes to the car. He says, my only complaint, all this traffic out here. Doc, I don't think that's going to end anytime soon.
Thanks, guys. Those cars back in the pack mixing it up a little bit. You watch the 5 car of Casey Mears trying to continue to move in on the 00. Michael McDowell. Can't say enough about McDowell and the effort he has put forth for Michael Waltrip Racing today. But the guy that's really pulling away is the other Michael Waltrip teammate, David Ruderman, in this 44 car. Now a 4-second lead over Mark Martin. David Ruderman has not had a top 10 finish at this racetrack in his career. In 3 visits here, his best finish was 13th. If he continues, he's certainly going to improve on that significantly here today. Back in a moment.
118 laps to go at the Richmond International Raceway Chevy Rock and Roll 400, led by David Ruderman, out by 4.2 seconds on now Tony Stewart, who runs in the second spot. Ruderman stayed out last caution. Stewart pitted, came tearing through the pack on fresh tires. But the fact that we've run a little ways under the green flag, Rusty and Brad, I think kind of locks some of these guys back onto the same pit schedule now. And for people like Ruderman, that's going to work out great for him.
Well, it's worked out good for him right now. As long as it doesn't run so long, they'll run out of fuel. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen with caution flags been falling the way they've been happening. But, boy, I mean, track position's everything for Ruderman. He's had enough air out there to keep the downforce, make that car handle good. It's been well.
And as far as another guy that's kind of locked in on a strategy move they made, because we've run a little while on the green flag, Brad, there's Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, absolutely. Denny Hamlin along with Martin Truex and Mark Martin. These guys have all stayed out. They're taking advantage of the track position. And like you say, if it schedules around, cycles around, they could be in the catbird seat come the end of the day.
So the strategy kind of shuffled the deck here at the front of the pack on these mid-race pit stops and might have set the course for some people as far as how they're going to finish. Now, the other intriguing story on the day, all race long followed the troubles of David Reagan, 13th place in points coming in. Now, all of a sudden, Clint Bowyer gets trapped way back in the field after that last set of pit stops, and he's the man that's on the outside looking in. Shannon, what happened on that last pit stop?
Yeah, you know, it's such a tight pit road down here. We've heard stories all day of guys just getting stuck inside their stall, and that's exactly what happened with the 07 of Clint Bowyer. He couldn't get his car all the way in the stall because of the 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya, who is right behind him. So when he pulled that car in, he actually had to pull it in on an angle, and of course then the guys had to chase the car in order to make the pit stop.
All right, Shannon, thanks. Did I say that right? Reagan, Bowyer? I might have gotten a little bit confused and misspoke there, but Bowyer, the one that had the problem on pit road and now finds himself running back in 25th place, 16 points between Reagan and Bowyer here with 113 laps to go. Boy, Doc, this one might come right down to the wire the way things are shaping up.
It could, Alan, and this 31, 48, and 5 have been where they were 3 wide a moment ago. Burton in the 31, and of course the two Hendrick cars, Jimmy Johnson and Casey Mears back in the 5. Mears had gone by Jimmy Johnson. Casey Mears got a pretty good race car, and then got pinned at the bottom of the racetrack, and Johnson got back by him.
As we watch this battle, I've been watching Clint Bowyer quite a bit.
Jimmy got in the wall there a little bit.
But Clint Bowyer's lost spots to Carl Edwards and Casey Kane, and he's getting passed again.
17 car, Kenseth being shown 2 laps down in 39th position, and moments ago, watch the 17 car. Had a handful coming out of the corner. Look at these guys, 3 wide. Jimmy Johnson in the middle.
Jimmy a little sideways there himself.
Yeah, that's 6, 7, and 8, by the way, Burton, Johnson, and Mears.
Shows you how hard these guys are driving.
Check our Wrangler telemetry here. We will watch him jump back in the throttle here.
You're carrying that brake pedal down in the corner a good ways. Have to go back to that throttle. You got to baby it just a little bit when they first get in it, but they can get off of turn 4. They can use quite a bit of throttle.
146 miles an hour entering turn 1 on a short track.
Yeah, this has it's a short track, but you carry a lot of speed, especially off into turn 1 where they were right there. You see Jimmy on the brake there early. You just use a lot more brake with these cars.
Time now for our Aflac trivia question. Who is the last driver to win back-to-back fall Richmond races? Marty, no?
I was going to say, Rusty, y'all didn't give me a chance.
Well, all you got to do is mention Richmond and winner. You're gonna, if Rusty Wallace is, you got him, you're going to be pretty good. Back-to-back in 92 and 93. 6-time winner here at Richmond International Raceway. Kenny Schrader in the 96 car. In danger of going another lap down to the 44 of David Ruderman. Schrader.
This is actually Schrader. He's on the lead lap right now. That's why he's racing him so hard.
Trying to stay there. He would be, there would be 31 cars on the lead lap if he goes by Kenny Schrader.
No, and Ruderman, look at those black marks he laid coming off that corner. Yeah. That was a close call for Ruderman.
As we talk about the cars, how many's on the lead lap, that might not seem so significant other than the fact is these guys are still racing hard. But if something should happen to either the 6 or the 9 or the 07, then that could become a big factor. Very impressed watching David Rudiman out here. You know, he only has about 10 more laps on his tires, but to get that car out front and do the job that he's doing there, I know that he's extremely happy to put that UPS Toyota out in front of everybody.
And oh, by the way, when this one's over, he's got 250 more laps for the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
83 cars in the wall.
Yeah, scraping along the outside of the wall down in turns 1 and 2. There is the car of Brian Vickers, and it will bring out caution.
Caution's out, still inside.
You know, we saw that kind of developing as David Rudiman was going by on the inside, so he's got a right front tire flat.
Just over 100 laps to go, and all the pit strategy of those coming in and out, they're all going to be able to come in and make what should be their final stop. Under the yellow. Show you Vickers' issues there.
You see these guys, Rudiman and Schrader, racing really hard, and this really cost Schrader that lap right here because that 83 car had a problem. Got up against the wall here with a flat tire. Good news is Schrader will get the lucky dog, though.
Well,
guys, I tell you what, this is really good news for Clint Boyer. I mean, his lap times were really falling off the board, and I tell you what, about another 10 laps, maybe he was threatening to get laps. So good news for this guy trying to stay in the top 12, Clint Boyer, because I tell you, we got married back in that traffic, guys, and that car just quit handling.
And Rusty, as of right now, he is not in the chase. He would not be in the top 12 in points. David Reagan would be there. Jamie.
David Rudiman, our leader now for the last 15 or so minutes. They're going to take 4 tires right now. He said that front grip starts to give up a bit. They're going to adjust on that. They said bring 1 can out, and they are going to take left side tires and top it off. Mike?
Tony Stewart wants to be tightened up just a little bit in the center. Had a long conversation with Greg Zipadelli as to what to do. They decided to make an air pressure adjustment, and they were debating whether or not to make an adjustment on the track bar. It does not look like they did that. They're going with a 4-tire change in Sunoco race fuel on the 20, Shannon.
Yeah, Mike, Clint Boyer had a hard time getting in his pit stall last pit stop. He pulls it in perfectly right now. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. It's just a little bit tight in the center for Clint Boyer, and there's 07, 4 tires. You see those guys going to work on the left side.
This time Boyer able to get out unobstructed from his pits, but Rudiman has made his pit stop and back out. He will not lose a spot. Stewart there, likewise the adjustments. And Jeff Burton up 3 positions. Truex Jr. back 3 spots. Reason for the caution flag number 11 on the day, 83 of Brian Vickers into the wall. Now he is on pit road. Back in Richmond, caution number 11 on the day. The 83 car had contact with the concrete wall. He has been on and off pit road, and the leaders have been on and off. The 77 car, Sam Hornish Jr. had a spin earlier, was involved in an incident out of turn 4, and just a moment ago, he had issues with a tire and wheel on pit road.
Yeah, it looked like you see how they just didn't get the lug nuts tight. Took off down pit road and the tire comes off.
It's definitely issues for sure.
And the tire actually passes Sam coming off pit road.
They're going to get that tire for speeding.
That's okay. They gave it a stop and go here. Here we go.
There's the official getting it as it bounced off the wall at the end. Did not make it onto the racetrack. Lots of action yet to come your way. We'll be back here in Richmond on ESPN2 tonight, 6:30 Eastern Time for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Joey Logano, who was to make his debut here this weekend, will make it next week in Cup at New Hampshire, but he will lead them down to the green flag in Nationwide. Tonight, NASCAR Now, 9 o'clock, 9:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. NASCAR Now Roundtable will have all the discussions among the experts tomorrow, 5 o'clock Eastern Time. And then next Sunday, we're going to kick off the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup at New Hampshire, presented by GoDaddy.com, 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC. Remember a year ago when Clint Boyer just got in the chase, barely got in, and he went to New Hampshire and opened up a can on the competition, leading 222 laps.
They better open that can a little bit early. That's what he better do. He's got some work to do today.
The 83 car received a black flag penalty. He was the one that brought the caution out, and what we are being told is he did not continue his progress around the racetrack. And NASCAR felt that by doing that, he didn't come around, and they brought him in. They black flagged him and brought him on the pit road.
Well, we all have opinions. I don't have to agree with everything that they do. They're obviously in charge of the race. But I think Brian just had the flat tire, and there wasn't anywhere to pull down. That would have been my opinion of it. So, they run the race, and this time I'm just politely disagreeing.
Well, yeah, this is the same thing we saw with Denny Hamlin when he had a flat tire up here in the spring race and stayed, slowed down and brought the caution out. I don't know. Looked to me like that he couldn't quite get down where he needed to. The 83 car.
Yeah, they held Hamlin 2 laps, by the way, in the spring after stopping on the racetrack and brought the caution coming out. Here we go for the restart. David Rudiman, can he hold off Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton, and Earnhardt Jr.? He has been the quick car the last 40 laps. Now with fresh tires, what can he do?
Check out this Kyle Busch, 18's underneath Rudiman right here. He's in the lucky dog spot, trying to get this lap back.
And the 42's already got ahead. You can see Rudiman really fighting, trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack on that restart, but the 42 held him from making that happen. They was able to settle in now.
Actually, the 42 just took the lucky dog spot. Actually took the lap back, putting the 18 in the lucky dog spot.
Andy, you said it earlier, don't count that 18 bunch out. They get that lucky dog, get back on the lead lap. They still got a very good race car.
Yeah, right now he's still pulling for Montoya to stay in front of this 44.
We have 32 cars still on the lead lap with Montoya being up there right now. The 18's pretty fast. He might get himself back on the lead lap without a caution flag right here. Looking to the high side of David Rudiman.
Still, with these new tires, it's really hard to make that outside groove work. If he can work on it just a little bit.
More on David Rudiman. Jamie.
Well, as we watch him continue to lead, Doc, coming into this race, he'd only led 6 laps in his entire career in 52 starts. Today, he's already led about 65 laps. So that leads me to ask DJ, what is it like seeing that UPS car out front again?
That's a great sight. I tell you what, the relationship I obviously had with UPS was fantastic. But I'm more excited for David Rudiman and this race team. They've worked extremely hard. He's a very talented race driver. And they're finally getting cars that are complementing his ability, and that's the best thing to see.
You were a major part of trying to help that Michael Waltrip racing team get started from the ground up, and obviously this has got to be a good day knowing they've at one time had all 3 cars running in the top 5. Rudiman holding on as the lead. Here is the 6th car, David Reagan, being shown back in 18th position, and he was just hanging on by 1 point to that valuable 12th and final transfer spot for the chase. Now the 07 car, there's a 07 of Clint Boyer back in 24th position.
He's in a hornet's nest right here, though. Got the 3 wide off turn 2. That's risky.
Nobody can be safe here. There's racing all over the racetrack. We see Casey Kane just behind him. He's obviously going to have to get a better spot than that if he's going to try. As we see Dale Jr. trying to take over the 3rd spot from Jeff Burton.
We see these guys racing a lot here in the second half of the race.
Jr. able to make that pass. Looks like his car was off a little bit the last run that we had, but maybe they've gone back and made the necessary adjustments to try to get him back up towards the front.
By virtue of making a pass a moment ago on Blaney and McMurray, Clint Boyer has now moved up to 21st position on the racetrack, but more importantly, he has now moved back into the top 12 in chase contention. Now trying to move by the 41 car, that would be for 20th spot.
Yeah, and he really has sights on the 6. He can now see the 6 from where he's sitting, so he's feeling a lot better about his situation right at this point in time. There's still a lot of traffic around there, and as he's trying to go around, it looks like Clint's car is working better on the bottom of the racetrack.
It's a lot better this run. He was terrible the run before this, but it's a lot better here. Must not have, that last set of tires didn't agree with this car.
Yeah.
Plus, getting blocked in the pits didn't help him either. He had to go back in the back and all that traffic and was just trying to weave his way through.
Yeah, but about the last 10 laps of that run before that, he really was struggling. He lost like 4 spots. Shannon?
Yeah, tight in the center is the thing that Clint Boyer's saying right now. But, guys, there are a lot of voices over his radio. Richard Childress, his team owner, his spotter, Mike Dillon, of course, his crew chief, Phil Martin. Everyone just telling him to stay calm, stay patient. Richard Childress actually told him to go to the bottom when the leaders were coming on top of him on the last run. So right now, Clint Boyer back in the chase. Guys, they've also told him, save fuel.
We have
caution on the track.
Go up a little bit. Go on up a little more.
Boyer snuck through there. This happened right in front of Clint Boyer.
Yeah, I think it was the 43s you see there. The 99 and the 21 were the three that I believe were most involved.
Come in and get some tires and just look for any damage.
Kyle Busch gets the lucky dog here. Puts him back in this race.
Montoya, who had passed David Rudeman and stayed out in front of him, he's on the lead lap and will get to catch up, come in and get some tires.
He got it back the old-fashioned way.
Yep. So caution number 12, a break for 2 drivers. We'll show you again what happened. Bill Elliott, the 21 car, 99 Edwards, and the 43 Bobby Labonte. Watch up in the front of this from Michael Waltrip's on board.
Looks like Bobby Labonte gets a little bit loose right there. And then Carl Edwards, in trying to miss that, got below and got into the side of Bill Elliott. Richmond Racing. See Clint Boyer right here in the 07 down on the bottom. David Reagan right there also.
I think his heart skipped a beat right there.
Both of those guys, yeah. It's a good thing they're young. It doesn't take long to get it started back.
Well, how do they see anything, though? I mean, it was the cloud on the racetrack and cars blocking the bottom lane. Well, caution number 12, Kyle Busch back on the lead lap, folks, with 84 laps to go. Mark it down. Rudeman, the leader.
Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of this.
Sweet dreams for some, but nightmares for others. Welcome back to the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Just 81 laps to go. It is the final regular season race of the year. Who's going to get in the chase and who's going to win the race? So a lot to be decided. David Rudeman is the leader. Folks, there have been 14 different winners the last 14 fall races here. Could Rudeman become the first-time winner in 2008?
There's a nice little jump on the restart here, and there's nothing showing us any different that he couldn't do that, Andy. He ran extremely well that last run.
He's not going to give this lead up easily. He's got a good race car. We've seen Tony Stewart have a great race car too, but these guys, I think they're going to race this thing out. I think Rudeman's going to be part of the mix.
Yeah. Dale Jr. right behind that in 3rd place. Rudeman's car really working good off the bottom.
Tony Stewart probably knows exactly what David Rudeman's thinking right now, because Tony got his very first ever career victory at this racetrack back in 1999. So did Casey Kane. So did Kyle Petty. How special would it be for David Rudeman to be able to hold on and beat the likes of former champions like the 20 car of Stewart?
He's pulling away a little bit there as we see him go down into turn 1. Kind of just 2 distinct lines there getting in. David's more of a straight in, get his car to turn in the center, where Tony arcs the car down in and makes all of that. Obviously, both of them can make it work. See Jimmy Johnson trying to take spot from Mark Martin.
Jimmy, who won both races here in 2007. Frustrating spring here. Got caught in that big 11-car crash at a 30th place finish. We thought Mark Martin would be a major factor today. Yesterday, watching him in practice, he was very good in the happy hour show.
He's in the top 5 right now, and his car seems to be better in the long run. But I think if this thing goes green, the 88 car is the one that'll have a shot here if it goes green to the end. As a matter of fact, I think that's the only way that the 88 car's going to have a good shot at winning this thing.
11 in the 1 car, Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex. They are battling for 7th position.
Denny Hamlin's been fighting a loose race car all day as we look from Kevin Harvick's onboard camera here. Oh, yeah, here are the guys back again, battling for that 12th spot. Clint Boyer's got to the back bumper of David Reagan, who is trying to take a spot away from Jeff Gordon. He just passed Michael Waltrip. And that's amazing to me that he's running that well with that car beat up that much.
The race team's not giving up. You know, they work on it every time he comes down pit road. David's driving the wheels off of it.
He is doing that. I'd given up. I didn't think there was any hope, but he's certainly given him a chance.
The day began, there were 17 points between the two. It is 11, or make it 14 points right now, talking about the 6 and the 0-7 of Reagan and Boyer.
Guys, I tell you what, look at the splitter on the 6 car. The back edge is bent up on it. Looks like it might be creating some more downforce yet. So actually, since the car got in a crash, it might have made it actually handle better because of that left front splitter.
That's certainly in the right direction. I don't think it's hurting him any.
No, whenever you can get that left front corner down, Andy, and get the back of it up, you know as well as I do, it just creates downforce. And right now, it doesn't look like it's hurting him at all. Dave?
And Rusty, you know how hard these guys had to do to get to this point to even have a shot at this chase. And that was the thing that Jimmy Fennig reminded his team in the team meeting this morning. You know, if we don't make it today, don't get your heads down. There's a lot of people, oh, it's a 48 to 88. Little dice right there. Don't get your heads down because a lot of people wish to be in our position. Here goes Junior back at him, guys.
Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, third position.
And Junior slipped up a little bit down in 1 and 2, and Jimmy Johnson running right on the bottom took the spot away, but Junior had a big run coming back down the backstretch.
Well, we haven't hit the sweet spot for this 88 yet. When they run enough laps, you're going to see this 88 car come back on these guys.
Yeah, I was going to say that he didn't become a rocket till about 30 laps into a run.
Yeah, and these other guys like Johnson's car, they've worked on this thing because it's better than it was in the first half of the race. But all day long, we've seen Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car really come alive after they run 30, 35 laps on tires.
They better not let David Rudiman get too far out there. They will run out of time trying to reel him back in.
He's the man to beat right now. His car is the best, and he's pulled away from these guys some.
David Rudiman making his 53rd career start, trying to hold on for his very first ever NASCAR Sprint Cup victory. Back at Richmond, David Rudiman continues to lead here by about 7/10 of a second, but the two guys who were the finalists for the final transfer spot, Bowyer and Reagan, have been mixing it up. There's the 6 car.
It's been getting hot and heavy with these guys, and they're right.
I guess the best way to beat someone is to beat on someone. Watch the 07 and the 6 come together.
Raced it really, really hard. You see, they just touch right here, and you see Clint Bowyer gets the worst of it. Then later, these guys are racing each other hard off turn 2. Bowyer gets into Regan Smith and knocks David Reagan off the racetrack, and now he's got another tire rub on the left front.
Yeah, and he's got that, and he lost about 5 spots to the 07 car right there. Wow. Well, that's how this
Clear
goes.
4 back. They jammed up behind you.
Reagan now all the way back to 29th position. He was being shown up in about 14th, 15th spot.
He's not giving up, though. Still digging hard.
Boy, the bubble tracker shows you that the Bowyer back in there. Reagan now has lost. That was about a 60-point swing right there, that contact for David Reagan.
Yeah, but Bowyer got some contact on his right front. He better hope that right front doesn't go down. This thing could change quickly in the blink of an eye.
You've got a little more than 60 laps to go, and both of these guys are going to continue to battle. Just hoping that neither one of them, with these tire rubs that they have, encounters a problem.
Hey, David Rudiman is the man to beat right now. He's putting it on these guys. He's pulled about a second on Tony Stewart.
There is Rudiman, the Zephyr Hills, Florida driver. One of, by the way, one of 9 drivers who will pull double duty here at the completion of this event. They will have a little bit of a break and then come back about 6:30 and climb in the Nationwide car. We'll have that coverage for you over on ESPN2.
This is really the first time I've seen the 48 get up towards the middle top part of the racetrack. You've seen sliding it sideways.
Maybe now you know why.
Yeah. Tony Stewart's moved back up. He had been on the bottom too, but he's moved back to that middle groove that he used for a good portion of the race. We'll see how that works. He was just a little bit quicker than David Rudiman that last lap.
These guys got to try something because Rudiman's got them covered.
Rudiman, Stewart, Johnson, Earnhardt Jr. Should be seeing Earnhardt Jr.'s car start to come in here anytime. He normally gets 28 to 30 laps, and then like someone flipped a switch, the 88 just starts coming like a rocket.
It's about time for him to start doing that if it's going to happen this run.
Let's check in on the leader, Jamie.
David Rudiman just enjoying the ride, not saying anything on the radio, but Doc, as you mentioned, nationwide coverage coming up tonight. David Rudiman, one of the many double-duty drivers. He will be starting 6th in that race. But the guys who are putting in the hard work going over the wall, 3/4 of them on this team are going to work that race tonight. So right now they're kind of sitting around, taking in the water, trying to hydrate, eat some food, because we're not going to be finished racing until 10 o'clock tonight, guys. So can you imagine if he runs from maybe victory lane back over to the racetrack?
Jamie, a full day of work for these guys who are doing double duty. We mentioned that David Reagan will be a part of that. Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin, Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch, and 9 drivers doing double duty. Or actually, there's Elliott Sadler, Kevin Harvick, David Rudiman, and Carl Edwards. Dale Earnhardt Jr. might have had a little close encounter of the concrete kind coming off of turn 2 up there. Car slipped up against the wall. Did he actually get into the wall?
He almost had to stop. He was all the way against the wall. I don't know if he hit it or not, but it sure cost him a lot of time. Looks like it's got a little scrape there.
Yeah, he's got that in the Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson both over the last 4 or 5 laps have been catching David Rudiman also.
Earnhardt Jr. in danger of losing the 4th spot now from the 8 car, Mark Martin.
He'd been pushing the issue, getting closer and closer to that wall. Yeah, and he definitely hit it.
Yeah, it cost him 2 seconds on that lap.
Come on. Got the 8-2 back there. Clear by 1.
Tony Stewart now moving in on the 44 of Rudiman, because suddenly...
And here comes the 48 of Jimmy Johnson on the outside.
Boy, Rudiman under attack. Stewart was up high. He pulled down across the racetrack, and watched Jimmy Johnson went all the way to the high side.
Yeah, watch Tony Stewart, and he might try to make the pass on the outside with this, but he'd been really running and cutting across the corner, but he's on the outside and has David Rudiman right now. I believe he should make the pass on this lap, but he's really running a different line. Not getting in the corner too hard, but really accelerating off this corner.
Rudiman jumps back in the throttle and pulls him out of turn 4.
Just hard when you get pinned down on the bottom like that, especially after the tires get some laps on him, to try to hold that guy off.
Yeah, Tony was really good coming up off a turn 2. This is where he gets so much bite there with the 20 car, and he will pull and take the lead. Now watch the 48 car.
Yeah, he's really getting a run. He's running even higher than what Tony is.
And Tony's trying to get back to the bottom after passing Rudiman. Better look in his mirror, and he sees that 48 coming.
Yeah, watch Johnson get really high right in the center of the corner. But he really gets acceleration off the corner here. You see him get right to the bumper of the 44.
It's a race right here. Look at Rudiman's even catching Tony Stewart just a little bit through the corner.
Rudiman really good on the bottom side coming out of turn 4, but it's all Tony Stewart right now. Mike?
And Doc, you got to wonder who wants it more. Rudiman looking for his first win, or Tony Stewart, a guy who coming into this race had led over 500 laps but had yet to score a victory. Now the pressure in front is certainly putting Tony in somewhat of a difficult position. His crew chief Greg Zipadelli came over the radio not too long ago telling him to save his tires, but with all this pressure up front, it seems like it would be pretty difficult to do that.
Not much you can do to save your tires when you're racing this hard, is it?
No, not much. But the one thing I've watched David Rudiman is once he got behind the 20 car, Tony's not driving it in quite as hard. I've seen Rudiman back his up a little bit already and get a better run off the corner. Watch him get a little bit of momentum right here.
Yeah, he might have learned something from Tony.
Yeah. He's a quick learner. That could make our race even better. Tony Stewart's obviously going to be hard to pass if this continues green, but I think David picked up on something that may help him.
The 11 car, Hamlin back in 7th position, just scraped the wall. Show you what happened to Denny Hamlin.
He's up on that high side here coming out of turn 4. Oh, yeah.
And look like Truex followed him right up there into it.
Yeah, sometimes you just got you're kind of dialed in on that car in front of you, and you find yourself doing a lot of the same things.
Yeah, look at that.
Just hope he's not going to drive it into the wall.
Got the ball. He's up high.
Is that when someone says run his line?
Yeah, exactly.
Here goes Truex now back around on the outside.
Yeah, for the 7th spot, there's Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, who was so fast at the start of this race. That's a little bit odd that he was that fast, but as the track is rubbered up, these cars change.
We told you this place very, very special to Tony Stewart. And if you turn back the clock to 1999, Tony Stewart came here and collected his very first ever NASCAR Sprint Cup win in dominant fashion, leading over 300 laps. Under caution once again here at the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond, the 66 car of Scott Briggs. Spinning around, coming up off the corner. Here's what happened to Scott.
It's kind of a lazy spin, really, off of turn 2, all by himself. Track gets pretty slick after they put a lot of laps on these tires.
And for the second time today, David Reagan gets a huge break. He was the next car to go a lap down. He will be able to stay on the lead lap as the leaders come on pit road. Jamie.
David Rudiman says, I don't want to change the balance. Don't make any adjustments. Only one can of fuel. This was a big break for this team. They could not make it to the end. 4 tires, and that's it for David Rudiman, who led 104 laps today. Shannon?
Yeah, Jamie, this is the big stop for Clint Boyer in that 07. Let's see if he can get into his pit stall safely. He's good. Right now, he's just saying he needs more forward bites. They're going to take 4 tires, but no changes for Clint Boyer. Mike.
Tony Stewart on pit road, real happy with his race car. Just 4 tires and race fuel on the 20 car. He's going to try to race the 48 off. They're side by side as they end off the end of pit road.
Hey, David Reagan just avoided a big mess when Ken Schrader and the 12 car Ryan Newman got together. He got in his pits, took on 4 tires, and they just avoided being passed by leader Tony Stewart before that caution came out. They'll stay on the lead lap, and they have their final chance to try to race into the chase.
Yeah, close call on pit road, Dave. We saw the 12 and 96 get together and just tap Schrader sideways. There's the advantage. Biffle, little tire strategy. Jimmy Johnson, onboard camera. Let's listen in. Pretty well sums it up.
That was a great job by that 48 team. They're just really clicking right now.
That and good forward bite out of the pits is
yes,
nice.
sir.
39 laps to go. Who's going to win it? Who's going to get in a chase? We'll answer both when we come back. Just 36 laps remaining in the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event here in Richmond, Virginia. And aerial coverage from high above brought to you by our good friends at Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR, helping NASCAR drivers get to the finish line for over 50 years. Good crowd on hand after a rain out on Saturday night because of Tropical Storm Hannah. And they have not been disappointed. 13 cautions, 20 lead changes among 10 drivers, and now Martin Truex, who took only 2 tires in the 1 car, being shown as the leader.
Yeah, spun the rear tires there trying to get up to speed. Don't know how long it'll take Jimmy Johnson to disperse of him here. Going to have to be a little bit patient. Clint Moore, you're talking about nail biting time.
Matt Kenseth gets by him here.
Kenseth a couple laps down, tries to get one of those laps back. 19 car is there as well. Elliott Sadler, he is also 2 laps down. Remember, Truex able to get his crew chief back, Kevin Bono Mannion, this week from a 6-week suspension. Gets him back on the pit box and trying to hang on and give his crew chief a welcome back victory.
Fighting Jimmy Johnson for the lead right here. Looks like Jimmy's going to get it. Well, not so fast.
Yeah, don't give that up yet. Johnson's getting held up a little bit there by Elliott Sadler right in front of him. Tony Stewart on the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson.
Earnhardt Jr. behind them. Jeff Burton and company. There they come. They're in line. Johnson makes the pass. Here goes Stewart underneath the 1 car as well. Jimmy Johnson with that dominant performance a week ago in California may be serving notice, and it's about time that to run for the championship.
Yeah, he's looking for 10 more bonus points to close that gap up a little bit more as they head into Loudon next week and get the chase started.
Jimmy trying to pick up his 4th win of the year. Tony Stewart trying to get his 1st win of 2008.
Dale Jr., as you'll see coming into your picture there, he's moved into the 3rd spot, passing Martin Truex.
Well, just 34 laps to go, and what was it that it takes Junior's car? How many laps to get going?
He usually takes about 30, but he's staying pretty close to these guys right here on this restart. Shannon?
Hey guys, Dale Jr.'s really been struggling with his car. They haven't made any major changes, just air pressure. Caution on the track, guys.
Yeah, Shannon, the 15 car, Paul Menard up into the wall. He'd had a couple of close calls over in turns 3 and 4, and he finally hits it up here.
Looks like Patrick Carpentier is involved in this also in the 10 car.
Carpentier spun in front. There's the 10 car Carpentier, and then the damaged Chevy of Menard.
bit of damage on the back of his Paul Menard's car here. See exactly what happened.
Carpentier got in here and got against Paul.
Yeah.
Both of them spin.
A little synchronized spinning there, and Menard gets the worst end of it. He does contact the safer barrier up there, bringing out caution for the 14th time. So we'll go back to green with less than 30 laps to go when we come back. 27 laps to go at Richmond. Here's the top three. Jimmy Johnson, the leader. Tony Stewart in second. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is third. Let's listen into Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s radio.
That's what they need to know. You got to tell them everything, you know, and sometimes they have good power. He's just saying that today, with the setup they have, that it's not all that it needs to be.
Not all feedback's positive.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
it all works.
You got to have it all, don't you? Yeah. We'll see here, though.
Pace car's off. Who's got it? Going to be 26 laps to go. Can Jimmy Johnson hold on? Tony Stewart awfully hungry. Been over a year. And Earnhardt Jr., you said, got to get that power to the rear wheels.
Elliott Sadler was up there, but it looked like he spun the tires and created a log jam back behind these guys. You see the front three now going to be able to clear the lap traffic. That's really important to get that out of the way, and then you can just focus on trying to make a pass.
You can see where you really stack up with these guys right now.
See, Jeff Burton went to the high side to get around the one car of Martin Truex. That is for 4th place. He does make the pass. Burton, a former winner here at Richmond, back at this race the fall of 1998.
Man, Clint Bowyer's back in the middle of a hornet's nest right here. You know, he's in the spot right now, the transfer spot as far as getting in the chase, but we have so many cars on the lead lap that if just anything happens, if he gets in the wrong spot or cuts a tire down here, it could be devastating.
He's in a tough spot. Look at these guys up ahead of him jamming up.
See Carl Edwards back behind the 0-7.
How about Kyle Busch all the way up to 12th spot now after that crash with Dale Jr. running down the lap for a lot of the race. Finally got it back.
And Kyle Busch could easily end up with a top 10 finish. Yeah, there's Jeff Gordon running with him, the 24 car being shown in 11th spot. That's the one right in front of Kyle.
Bowyer's got a little bit of breathing room there for a minute. I'm sure he was glad to get by all of that he was in the middle of there. He can kind of relax and run. He's in a position now, Andy, that, hey, the 6 is behind me. This is what I have to do. As much as you'd like to win the race, just got to kind of ride here.
He can find a little place to run, just like he is now with nobody on either side.
Here's a battle for position. Denny Hamlin has caught the 31 of Jeff Burton, and that would be for 4th spot. Burton not going to give it up too easy, though.
Comes back strong on the outside. Denny Hamlin has run the bottom of the racetrack most of the day, fighting a loose race car for the majority of the day, but looks like he's got a little bit better forward bite. He's got Burton cleared finally this time, it looks like. Burton's getting right back to this corner, but I believe Hamlin will have the spot when they come out of 4.
Saw some smoke out of the back of the 31 car of Jeff Burton just a moment ago. I'll see where that's coming from.
Yeah, I was in the corner pretty hard. He locks that left front wheel up.
Yeah.
That's one thing we saw a lot of about a year ago with these guys and these cars is that they used to lock that left front up getting into 3 here at this track.
They did it again that time there and went all the way up across the racetrack. Just did keep it out of the wall.
And right behind him is David Rudiman, who had been leading the race earlier. They faltered a little bit on their pit stop, and when some guys got 2 tires and things, they kind of lost some track position. Still a great run for David Rudiman.
Boy, it is that. And right behind Rudiman is the 8 car of Mark Martin moving in on both of them.
You watch this 31 car. It's kind of ironic. I was in the hauler talking to Scott Miller, his crew chief, just about that subject, about how we don't see these cars lock up the left front like we saw a year ago. And then here it is, his car's locking up the wheel.
I think they probably learned some different things with them as far as the bias on these with the brakes and things. Plus, they've made the chassis better where they don't have to do that a lot of
That's
time.
what he was saying. He thinks the chassis are better, but also I think the drivers have learned how to deal with it some too. Dave?
Yeah, and if you're a veteran like Mark Martin and you work on that, you have a pretty good race car all day long, to the point to where he didn't make any changes on the last 2 stops, 4 fresh tires, and he's eyeballing that 5th and 6th spot, thinking he may get it before this is done.
Making his 46th career start here at Richmond, talking about Mark Martin. And remember, folks, next year he's going to be full-time. One more shot at trying to win a championship, driving for Rick Hendrick. Got the best seat in the house right now for this battle for 5th position.
Who's got the best seats? Jimmy Johnson. He's out front right now, and he's beating Stewart by just a little bit. Actually, Stewart beat him 100th or 2 the last lap, but he's got that spot.
Saw Tony Stewart on the restart reaching up and make some adjustments on his brake bias there in the car.
When we had all those 3 camera shots up, you could see Tony Stewart getting ready to go green, and he was actually moving his brake bias, just trying to get a little bit of an advantage.
Whoa. Mark Martin. Yeah, he wasn't happy riding behind those guys very long. He'd seen all of that action he wanted to see. He kind of forced the action there.
Kevin Harvick wanting to join the party. Jeff Burton has only had 1 top 10 finish the last 10 races. They were so consistent for the first 15 events of the season. Now trying to get a top 5 if he can hang on for 14 more laps.
Change of 3rd spot. Denny Hamlin has passed Dale Jr. and taken that spot away. He can see, you see right up in front of them that Tony Stewart is getting closer to Jimmy Johnson. This is going to be a battle.
Last couple laps, it's been a couple of hundreds here. Looks like Stewart searching all over the racetrack trying to find something.
Mark Martin taking the spot away from Jeff Burton. They are longtime friends. In fact, Martin was sort of the mentor for Burton when he first came into racing in Cup, driving for Roush. Now he will take that position away, puts Martin up in 5th position. Tony
Stewart's got a run on him right here.
He said it takes Tony's car a few laps to come in. Looks like it might be just the right amount. He's got coming to the line. He'll have 11 laps to go.
Well, Stewart or Johnson is going to have to figure out some way to try to battle this 20 because Stewart's definitely got the best car.
Yeah, he's down on the inside now, but Jimmy Johnson had that high line going to where he could keep some momentum off the corner.
Tony said this is without a doubt his favorite racetrack.
Watch Tony down the bottom of the racetrack.
He gets
really
a big run off the bottom.
Man, his car turns that center really good.
They gave him 10 to go that time by. Side by side, it's why they love coming to Richmond. Short track racing on a Sunday afternoon. Tony Stewart trying to go to victory lane for the first time in 39 races.
The longer that Johnson can hold this 20 car on the bottom like that, the harder it's going to be on Tony Stewart's tires. Tony knows that. He wants to find just if he can get a 1/4 of an inch, he's going to take that spot. He's going to wait to hear clear from his spotter.
Yeah, Tony got it. Looked like he got into the corner a little bit hard right there. You can see the car bounce around a little bit. Got a good run up off, but Jimmy Johnson's carrying a lot of momentum off of that high side.
And what a great race this is.
2 former 2-time Cup champions going at it. Looking over at Johnson, looking back at Stewart. Stewart gets a good grip coming up out of turn 4, but Jimmy Johnson has the advantage up high.
Yeah, Stewart led the last lap by all of that happening. Jimmy Johnson came back and led that lap.
Look at Tony Stewart just jamming that throttle back in, hoping it'll stick on the bottom of the racetrack, and Jimmy not going to give him that middle groove.
See Jimmy really take the car and let it roll fast. Tony got out of the throttle a little bit and back to the throttle a little bit sooner. Back to the throttle fast. Jimmy Johnson led that lap once again at the line.
They can do this all the way to the finish right here.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's back in 3rd, but I don't think that he can get there. He's about 2 seconds behind these guys.
Stewart's got him by a bumper coming up the backstretch.
Well, he got a nice run off of there. You see Jimmy really letting his car roll. He may be heating his tires up a little bit, trying to get down in that corner a little bit hard, ain't he?
Well, he's only got 6 laps to go, so I guess just might as well use them up here.
This is where Stewart has been the best, coming off of turn 2. That's where he was able to pull up alongside the 48 a moment ago and get him by half a car length. Now he can't do it as Johnson pulls him by a car length.
This time, nice line.
How hungry do you think Tony Stewart is?
Yeah, we know how much this guy likes to win.
How clean is he going to race Jimmy if it comes down to the last lap?
Let's see, 39 races. Watkins Glen, August 2007. That's over a year.
That's a long time for Tony Stewart. Jimmy is not going to give it to him, buddy. He wants these 10 points real bad.
Now, you know, Jimmy wasn't running that high before Tony caught him, so he kind of forced his hand to go up there when Tony got to the inside of him, and it's actually been faster for Jimmy.
5 to go.
These guys are actually running lap times just about as fast as the third place car running when they're running side by side, and Denny Hamlin's all by himself back there.
I know we talked a lot about the chase. Clint Boyer is in good shape. He's kind of set in right there right now. If nothing happens, he's going to be the driver that's going to make the chase. But these guys are having a great battle for the lead.
3 to go this time by.
Tony actually moved up across. Tony had moved all the way up across the racetrack into the upper groove that time coming out of Ford. It didn't gain him anything. If anything, he lost a few car lengths.
A couple of times, Tony really forced Jimmy to get up higher and higher in the center of the corner, and he's really making this work.
Clear by 1, 2 to go.
As much as Tony wants to win, this is 10 more points that Jimmy Johnson's going to be closer to the lead.
I'm so impressed with Jimmy Johnson because he was really beat. That 20 car had caught him and was going to pass him. He moved up a groove and found a way to make his car faster.
White flag this time. Clear by 1.
Jimmy Johnson has won twice and had 4 top 10 finishes in the last 6 races. Talk about momentum and how important it is heading into the chase. He dominates at California a week ago. He won both events at Richmond in 2007, was disappointed about what happened here in May. But on a Sunday afternoon in September, Jimmy Johnson comes down and wins it at Richmond.
Wow, what a race. Great race. Denny Hamlin third, Dale Jr. fourth.
Right,
See Clint Boyer battling for the line here.
Okay, you can breathe now, Clint. You're in the chase.
Right, yeah, great job.
Boyer will finish 12th, Edwards 13th, and that will put Boyer as the final car in the chase by 69 points over Casey Kane, who finished 13th in points. And
thank you, boys.
You see Jimmy turning. He's turning his brake bias right now all the way to the front so he can do a big burnout right here for everybody. He's got pretty good at that.
Yeah.
Phoenix, Indianapolis, California, and now Richmond. 4 wins on the season for Jimmy Johnson. 40 bonus points heading into race number 1 in the chase next week at New Hampshire.
Yeah, as happy as these guys are, it has to be a big boost for Tony Stewart and Greg Cipodelli and that team to be able to come here and finish second, knowing they're going to Loudon next week, and a place that Tony's also run extremely well.
10 more points.
That's a high-speed burnout.
Yeah.
Tony Stewart not happy to get just so close. Hoping to get that first win in 2008 and just couldn't quite get there.
The Chevy Rock and Roll 400 is over at the Richmond International Raceway. Jimmy Johnson has won the race, and the field for NASCAR's chase for the Sprint Cup is locked in. One driver is locked out. Let's go downstairs and hear from David Reagan.
Casey Kane finishes 13th in the points, and he just looked at me and said, man, Casey, what are the emotions knowing you just missed it?
We're a little disappointed. I mean, that's what we've worked for all year, was to make the chase, and this whole Budweiser team has done a great job. We've had good pit stops. Today we were a little off, but I don't know, we tried. We've came a long ways in a year, so that's good. It's a good thing, and we'll keep working through these next 10, try to keep getting better, and hopefully have even a better season next year.
Casey, you guys were on the upswing midsummer, 2 wins in a row. You guys were 8th in points, looking to be a shoe-in for the chase. Where did things get derailed a little bit?
I would say, we started the year about where we've been the last probably 2 months, since we won those races. So we just had a really great month there where we won 3 and run second at Michigan. And then we just kind of went back to where we were, which is 8th to 15th, 19th today. And we just have a lot of work to do. We need to get better to run with Kyle and Jimmy Johnson and Tony Stewart, all those guys. We got to get better.
Casey Kane's not in the chase, but he has 10 more races to try to bring home another win. Dave?
Well, we're with David Reagan now, who also did not make the chase. And David, describe your crazy day that led to you not being in.
Very disappointing. I felt like the first 100 or so laps we had a top 5 car, and AAA Ford seemed to be pretty quick, and just seemed to turn a corner sometime after lap 100 there. We didn't have the speed, brought out that one caution and seemed to have poor track position, and the car really fell off on a long run. And, we'll have to get it back, check things over, and see if anything crazy happened. But a good effort by the AAA team, and certainly this one race doesn't dictate how our season's gone. We've got 10 more races to try to get a win, and certainly finish 13th in points is our goal now. But, running back there 30th, 25th, you don't deserve to make the chase running like that.
It was tough at the end with damage, and lots of things gone wrong today. Alan?
All right, David, thank you. And now we go to the Chevy Rock and Roll Victory Circle, where Jimmy Johnson's going to celebrate another win.
And talk about peaking at the right time. While this looks like a familiar story, a year ago you entered the chase with back-to-back victories. You do the same thing here again. Do you feel like you're peaking at the perfect time?
It's hard not to feel that way. Just a lot of hard work, and we're coming to good track. So I think this 48 car is going to be ready for this championship battle. It's just a great day, a lot of hard work, but a great day, and we got the job done. I can't thank my guys enough. Great stops, worked on it all day, and I wish my wife was here. Honey, I miss you, wish you were here, but what a day.
You mentioned the hard work. A lot of that was done in the last 25 laps trying to hold off Tony Stewart. What was that battle like?
I'm sitting there driving, and I'm thinking, all right, he hasn't won this year. It's Tony. He's in the orange car, I'm in the Lowe's car. What's going to happen? Then I'm like, well, he's going to be teammates with us next year, so maybe nothing. But either way, Tony drove his butt off, and I could see him down there on the bottom real loose off. And I was waiting for the bump, but fortunately I got away with him with about 3 or 4 to go, and he never got to me.
We do enter the chase now. There's some pretty stiff competition. You look at the 99, you look at the 18. How do you assess your chances of pulling off your 3rd consecutive championship in this series?
I think chances are high. I mean, we've worked hard to get these Impalas right. Great support from Lowe's. Our team's been working hard. I feel that we've got all the tools. Now it's just up to those 10 races and see what kind of luck we have and where things go. But we're going to show them, give 100%, and if we get it, we'll try to make history or be a part of history, what Cale did before. If not, they can't say we weren't trying this year.
Jimmy Johnson already part of history. 2nd consecutive victory this season and the 3rd time in a row here at Richmond. Shannon?
Well, Mike checking in with Clint Boyer, and he is breathing right now. How much of a relief is it that this race is over?
Oh, huge. I mean, I knew you're going to go through so much emotion. That's just a roller coaster. You're in good track position. The car's fast. We lost track position there, had a couple of bad pit stops, and you're back in the melee, and you're the outside looking in. So we just kept our heads together. Doug Deek, Mike Dillon, my spotter, everybody, all the guys behind me, and the Jack Dillon Chevrolet just did a good job. We got to a lot of homework to do here. We got to prove that we're in this thing for a reason, and really proud.
A lot of emotion over the radio. What role did your spotter, your crew chief, even Richard Childers play in keeping you calm and keeping you focused for today's race?
Well, I mean, like I say, you're pretty calm when everything's up there, and it's easy to stay calm. You get back there behind the 8 ball, and the car's tight, and you can't move, and the whole field's in front of you, and the leader's coming, going a lap down. That was getting pretty tense, but it worked out for the good, and just really proud of all the guys sticking together.
Well, we just told Clint Boyer that when the chase starts next week, he'll be seated 5th. And Alan, he said, cool.
That's what you get for winning a race. But before we get into how they'll be seated for the chase, let's look at how the regular season ended. Where the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is concerned, 69 points the margin Clint Boyer had over Casey Kane. David Reagan finished 77 points out of NASCAR's playoffs. Lots of post-race coverage still to come from Richmond. The chase for the Sprint Cup, 10 races for the championship, starts next week. Our coverage from New Hampshire, presented by GoDaddy.com. 1 p.m. Eastern Time, ABC, starting with NASCAR Countdown. We get that road to Miami underway and find out who will take the Sprint Cup championship this year. For now, more post-race coverage from Richmond. Jamie?
What a hard-fought day it was for Matt Kenseth, but he's been in this situation before. He's made every chase. He and Jimmy Johnson, the only 2 to do that. Matt, how did today's race compare, though? You had to hold your breath at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably one of the worst races I probably ever drove, so it was very frustrating. It was very disappointing. I'm glad we're in a way, but another way we're operating, I don't think will be a factor when we get there. So we just got to get rolling and get back into getting some good finishes and get working together and doing all that. None of our cars were very fast today. We really missed it on the short track stuff for some reason. And I don't know, David spun out getting in there, and I spun out as soon as he spun. So I think there was some oil up there or something. I can't remember ever spinning out going into a corner. So when he spun, I seen him, and I just kind of froze and waited a second. And my car just spun right with him. So if he would have spun in front of us, would have been a different day. We weren't that good. We weren't going to run with leaders, but we probably top 15 car maybe.
Well, Roush Fenway, you guys dominated last weekend. You guys had a lot of great cars out there. Today was a down day. How are you feeling about the next 10 tracks that we go to for the chase?
Well, I don't feel very good about next week and probably Martinsville. Our short track stuff hasn't ran like it used to for some reason. We're missing something in that combination, but our bigger track stuff seems to be running okay. Our Dover stuff is good, and Carl's been good at all the 1.5 mile and big tracks. So feel pretty good about the big tracks. Don't feel too good about the short tracks after today.
All right, it's been a long day for Matt Kenseth, but the good news is he's in the chase and he will be seated 12th. Dave?
Jamie, Jeff Gordon's 10th place run today secures him in his 4th chase out of 5 ever run. Relieved to be here now?
Definitely. Obviously today we wanted to come out of here with a strong finish, and we had a strong start, not as good a finish as we had a start, but the most important thing was coming out of here with being in the chase. And it was a good fight. We took 2 tires there early, and then we had to make some adjustments to the car. We just lost track position. I don't think the car was bad at all. It just, once you lose track position, it's really tough to get up through there.
So you're one of these guys now tied on the bottom rungs at 5,000. You're getting a lot of points, obviously, in moving up. We were just kind of laughing about that. But where's this win? When does it come, Jeff?
Hopefully it comes soon. New Hampshire's a great track for us, so we'll start there. That's all we can do is just fight hard, try to win every single race that we go to, just like we've been all year long. When it's meant to happen, it'll happen. If we prepare and put the right car and come together as a team, we're going to win. We know that we're not that far away. Sometimes it looks like we are, but I really don't think we're as far off sometimes as it looks. But I want to thank Nick Garrett for being on board this DuPont Chevrolet today. This thing's always looking good, running good, and proud to have him on board. So now we'll start this chase, see what happens the next 10.
And a couple of wins could move him up the charts in a hurry. Mike?
And Dave, another team that appears to be getting hot at the right time is the 11 team. And Denny Hamlin, your 3rd consecutive 3rd place finish. How would you assess the day?
It was up and down day. I definitely like to win in front of these hometown fans, but we made a run at it at the end. Our car was pretty good, so we just got too far behind there in the middle stages of the race, just too loose, and but we did what we had to do. I couldn't race guys as hard as I'd like to, but this is what we needed, was a strong 3rd place run.
A few weeks ago, you made some pretty pointed comments, but since then, nothing but top 5s. Do you feel like you're ready for the chase now?
Yeah, I'm ready. This is the best run we've had all year as far as string of finishes in a row. So I can't think of a better place to go than Loudon for this whole FedEx team. And congratulations to Toyota getting 3 cars in for the first time. And this whole FedEx team, 3 years in a row. Every time we've tried, we made it. So glad the load's off my back.
And Denny Hamlin is the number 6 seed. Shannon?
Yeah, Mike, all Greg Biffle had to do was start the race, and he made it into the chase. We saw all of your team celebrating on the wall. What was it like for you in the car today, just knowing that you were already in the chase?
Well, it was pretty exciting. Last week we got the 3M16 car in the chase, and we knew all we had to do was come here this week, but wish we'd have run a little bit better today. We had great pit stops again, just a little bit off on the car, but excited to make the chase, back in the chase in 2008. I'm happy for 3M and Ford and Roush Fenway, everybody. First time for Greg to make the chase, so it's an exciting deal for all of us.
Yeah, looking forward to the next 10 races. Where is this team right now? How do you expect to do in the chase?
We expect to do really good. I mean, that 14th place finish today isn't characteristic of our team. I got the car too loose. I spun getting into one, my fault. And we had a better car than that. We had a top 10 car, and we should have been in the top 10. I feel like going to Loudon and all the rest of the places, there's some great racetracks for us, and we're going to try and run them down. We know we don't have any bonus points, but we're going to try our heart out.
All right, and the Greg that Greg was referring to was Greg Irwin, his crew chief.
So let's show you how the drivers will be seated as they enter that 10-race chase for the Sprint Cup. Remember, they get 10 bonus points for each win they've accumulated during the year. But one little asterisk to keep in mind, Carl Edwards was penalized those 10 bonus points for the oil cooler cover infraction his team had after his win in Vegas.
Yeah, it would be tied. I mean, he'd be just 20 points behind. But I like the way it looks. This is going to be an exciting chase to the championship.
Kyle Busch will lead him into the chase next week. Continuing our post-race coverage in Richmond and looking ahead to those 10 chase races and the 12 drivers in the field.
I can't believe this. No Penske, no Evernham. Where are these guys?
Well, look at that. Gibbs, Rouse, Hendrick, and Childress.
Hey.
3, total 12. That's the way I figured. They wrapped it up.
The sports super teams this year will be those competing for the championship starting in New Hampshire next week. Jimmy Johnson, with yet another win, his 4th of the season, taking the checkered flag today after a stirring finish with Tony Stewart. Now remember, Stewart led Johnson when they came down pit road for what turned out to be their final stop. After Tony was not able to get around Jimmy, there was quite a bit of emotion that poured forth from inside his race car.
Good job, guys. We gave another one away today. Great job. 10-4. Great attitude there, Smoke. We stalled it a couple times up pit road and gave up spots. Remember, we win and lose as a team. It's a great effort, okay? It's enough of that crap. Difference is I got mine back.
Well, obviously frustration there, and it's, you know, I mean, what do you say to that? But a driver who thought he had a chance to break a long winless streak.
Well, it's all about a team effort, and those guys definitely got involved because they got mad at each other. Let's hear what he was upset about. Take a look at his pit stop.
There's Tony there in the orange car leading Jimmy Johnson, and they both peel off and head to their pits. Now, the only thing I could see, obviously, we've had the benefit to look at this in the commercial previous. It really isn't anything that stands out from Tony's pit stop. But when they leave,
he just got beat out of the box. He just didn't get out of the box. I don't. Man, that's tough.
Dave?
Well, I've been standing by with Tony right now. Finished up from the race. The second place finish is good. On the other hand, you had a chance to win and got beat off of pit road, Tony. What was going on there, and why were you so upset?
Well, you just don't like giving up spots, but you know, we had a good day. I mean, guys did a great job all day, and you know, we got the big prize which we needed for the day, and that's getting in the chase. So you know, just you always want that one last spot.
You know, this is one of your favorite tracks, and you guys had such a good run going today, improving. Chase worthy?
Probably not, but we're trying. Today was definitely a step in the right direction. I mean, I'm proud of our team. You know, this is the kind of run you need going into the chase. So, you know, having days like today, that's momentum we need.
All right, Tony Stewart, he will start 6th in the chase, guys, after a finish today of 2nd. Jamie?
Well, another guy who's had a lot of momentum on his side, Kevin Harvick, finishes 7th today, 7th in the points, and you'll be seated 11th. So, Kevin, talk about making it in the chase and what that means to you and your team.
Yeah, it's great. Our Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet has been great the last few months, and really excited to head to Loudon next week and get it started. So it's fun to get it going. Today we just kind of got behind on our car, and you know, it's one of those deals where we were tight in the center trying to fix that, and then we wound up making it looser up off, and just took us till the end to get it back, and then we just had lost so much track position. It took us a while to get it back up, but we had a really good car today, and just got off there in the middle.
You guys have come into something. You've come into your own. You've had a lot of momentum on your side. What does that mean as we go into the chase? Do you feel like you guys really will be a factor to win the championship?
Well, we've been a factor for the last 3 months, so I think, you know, going into the chase, I think we've got good momentum. Obviously, everybody's going to try to pick it up a notch and make something happen. So, 12th or 1st for us. So, we've been everywhere in between. Doesn't matter if you're not first.
All right, Kevin Harvick's got to get in his car and race in the Nationwide Series race tonight. Mike?
And catching up with Kevin's RCR teammate Jeff Burton, kind of bounced between 4th and 12th all day, but kept working on it. How would you size up the afternoon?
I thought we ran well. We were really good on old tires. We weren't so good on new tires, but we were real competitive. We just struggled. Like whenever we'd come in the pits, we'd leave and the car would drive a little differently than it did before. We struggled with that lately. That's been our biggest shortcoming. But we're, you know, I know it doesn't show in results, but we've been running better than we did the first part of the year, the last 2 months, and I'm optimistic. I know that we got our work cut out for us, and you know, there's a lot of really good race teams we're going to be racing with, but. You know, I believe our best is ahead of us. I believe our best cars are coming. Our best stuff is in a trailer going to New Hampshire. So we'll see what we can make happen.
You're a veteran of this chase. This will be your 3rd one. What have you learned in past chase events and chase processes that might help you here this time capture the championship?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing I've learned is you never know what's going to happen. The only thing you can do is just go out and work the hardest you know how, give 100%. When the day is over, you have to make sure you gave 100%. And if you stick to your game plan and you gave 100% and it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But you don't try to become something you're not. You don't try to change the rules. You don't try to do stuff that you're not good at. You do what you're good at, but you do it a lot. And you know, that's the way I view it.
And Doc, Jeff Burton is your number 7 seed.
And we know how good Jeff Burton is when he goes to New Hampshire. He is the winningest Cup Series driver at that racetrack. And Jimmy Johnson for the 2nd week in a row. The two-time and reigning Cup champion celebrating in victory lane. He's now won 3 of the last 4 times he has come to Richmond International Raceway. Well, the field is set for the 2008 chase for the Sprint Cup, and it's all about momentum, being able to carry that momentum into the chase. We know Jimmy Johnson's got it, but I want to talk about Kevin Harvick. He's had 7 top 10 finishes in the last 8 races, just getting better and better each week.
I'm just not sure that those top 10 finishes are going to be enough, though. These guys like Johnson and Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards are going to go out there and win races. We know that. And Tony Stewart looks like he might be able to jump in there and do that too. But yeah, and I like Harvick. Harvick does have momentum to be solid, but I don't think that's going to be enough to win the championship.
Well, it remains to be seen, obviously, but I like them going to Loudon next week. And the one thing that we have to look at, we heard Matt Kenseth talk about their short track program in the Roush camp. Carl Edwards going there next week. Didn't run that well here today, so that could be a time for him to pick something up. And Kyle Busch had a terrible race there the first time that we were there. So I'm sure that everybody's looking. This is their opportunity. So Kevin Harvick, even though he's seated back in 11th, he could go there, have a great run. We know how well he runs there, and be right back in the middle of this. His teammate Clint Boyer, we talk about him barely getting in. He's actually tied for 4th in the seating. So a lot of things could happen next week.
And don't leave out Denny Hamlin, by the way. Back-to-back third-place finishes for Hamlin. So we got 6 Chevys, 3 Toyotas, and 3 Fords in the chase, and we're headed to New Hampshire. Alan?
Doc, and if you look at these 10 races upcoming, this comes to mind for me. Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, and Jimmy Johnson have combined to win the last 9 straight races. Those 3 drivers, 3 apiece. Those are the 10 tracks we'll go to over these next few months to decide who is the Sprint Cup champion 2008. We continue at the Richmond International Raceway after the final event of NASCAR's regular season, if you will, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a solid 4th place finish today, and he's in the chase, Shannon.
That's right, Alan. It was a great run for the 88 team. You guys led some laps, had a very strong car. How much momentum does that give you going into these next 10 races?
Well, we run like we thought we'd run. We led some laps and kind of we fell off near the end of the race, though. About lap 100, it kind of fell off a little bit, and we got tight in the center, and we didn't have anything for the leaders. But, we always run good when we come here, so we got what we expected.
All right, things did get a little exciting out there between you and the 18. Just talk me through what happened.
Yeah, he was running good up front, leading the race, and I thought I was catching him a little bit, running a little harder. And I got up under him a couple times. He wasn't going to let me have it, so I was going to move up the track and get a little closer to him, try to free my car up. And we got down into 1 and locked the left front up and slid into him, so just wrecked him. So it's just it's a bad deal for him, but those things happen.
Now, we had some guys out on the racetrack who were trying to get into the chase, just needed to have a good finish. How aware were you of where they were and maybe racing them a little differently?
I can barely keep up with my own race. I can't. I mean, it's tough. I want more information than I get, but it's hard to, get that kind of information, whatever you want to hear and whatever. But I knew Matt was. I didn't know how close Matt was. I knew he was tore up, and I didn't know what was wrong with his car or how bad he was falling back or whether he was in jeopardy even not making it. I didn't know. I couldn't tell who was doing what.
All right, Dale Jr. seated 4th once we start the chase next week. Dave?
And Carl Edwards will be seated 2nd, although it was a very long day to get to this point today. Talk about it, Carl. And maybe the relief of just being done and in the chase.
Yeah, that was a struggle. I mean, my guys did a great job. Pit road was awesome. We got a flat right rear under green. Came back from that, and it took forever, because the car was having a lot of trouble with it. And then Jason Hedleski called that wreck over there. He said, "Oh, watch those guys in front of you." At the same time, I was diving underneath them, and we got caught up in that. But to fight back for a 13th place finish, I'm real proud of my guys. Everybody from Office Depot was here, and that was a good run for us.
I know that says a lot about them. You've also won 6 times this year. Of those victories, which one do you look at and say, okay, that's the one that shows we have a chance in this chase?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the 1.5 mile wins, obviously those races are going to be real key for the chase. But Bristol was real cool because we qualified on the pole. The pit crew was on their game, all night. Had a real hard battle at the end and won the race. So I think those are the kind of races that really show you what your team's made of. So hopefully we can have a lot more of those and have a great season.
How excited are you to get into the chase and go for that championship?
I'm ready for New Hampshire. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, 10 races, that's all we've got, and I just hope we're sticking around for pictures at Homestead. That'd be pretty cool.
All right, Carl will be 2nd seed. How about the 1st seed, Mike?
Yeah, catching up with the number 1 seed entering the chase, and that's Kyle Busch, but I wouldn't imagine this was the way you wanted to go into it. What happened early on with the 88?
I'm not sure. I hadn't seen it, but just tough racing. But
we had a good car overall. We were leading there, leading some laps, led some laps, and fell back a little bit there on a pit mistake on my part. Got too far in the box, and then fortunately we had a fast race car still even after we wrecked. So come back to a 15th. It was a pretty hard fought race there.
You put this race behind you. You look ahead at the next 10 races. Is a championship within your sight? Do you see it? Can you envision this team taking that trophy home?
Well, I mean, you can't envision anything. You can only hope for the best and do what you can to keep yourselves in the right positions at the right times. And so the only thing we can do is try to do what we've done all year long, and that's to, race hard and yet still mind what we're doing and trying to keep up front, keep those consistent finishes. If we can go for a win, great. If not, it's going to be top 5s and top 10s that get this deal done. And, to come back to a 15th with a tore-up race car like that, that's championship caliber right there. That'd be pretty good there in the chase, too.
A lot of people, a lot of pundits out there boiling this down to a 2, maybe a 3-car chase with the 48. How do you see it developing?
You never know. I mean, the 24 can come on. The 20's obviously been strong all year long. He's had some spurts, and so he can go on a winning tangent. But, we know the 11's going to be good, too. It's anybody's race, with the way the points are closed up now. It's all about whoever's the most consistent over the next 10 weeks.
Kyle Busch has been incredible at times in 2008, Alan.
Yes, he has, and he goes into the chase for the Sprint Cup with 8 wins under his belt. And it's going to be exciting. Before we turn our attention there, I want to wrap up today's race first. Rusty and Brad, some thoughts on performances or things that happened in today's race that stood out to you?
Well, what stood out to me, Jimmie Johnson continues this role. I mean, he was just so strong throughout the day. He just looked great. And running that top lane of the racetrack all day, pretty well all day long he did, and absolutely winning the race right there. Another thing that was pretty cool for me to see was Jeff Gordon struggled so bad all year long and has a pretty good run today and finishes 8th and gets himself locked into this thing. I thought for a point there, guys, he might be in so much trouble because these bad runs, he might fall out.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, Kevin Harvick had a strong race car today. He's been really consistent the past several races. It was good to see him run really strong today. And Tony Stewart, we've been waiting on him to get to victory lane. I think this is the 4th time this year he's finished 2nd and possibly could have won. That should add some flavor to the chase. So good, exciting race here at Richmond today.
I think the thing that stood out to me about this Richmond race was the little things that these races turn on. The competition is so close now. That fraction of a second on pit road between Tony Stewart and Jimmie Johnson was enough to give Jimmy the track position and help him hold off Stewart to win this race. Before we talk some more about the chase, let's swing it upstairs. Doc, DJ, Andy?
Guys, you heard Carl Edwards talk about the fact that this chase involves 5 1.5-mile racetracks. 5 of the 10 races are 1.5-mile tracks, 3 on 1-mile tracks, and then you have Martinsville and Talladega. And let's handicap it a little bit. Who among the guys that are in the chase now do you think really we should have an advantage on all those 1.5-mile tracks?
I don't know about all of them, but how can you not say Kyle Busch is not the favorite? He's done everything. He's led this from the very beginning. And I know Jimmie Johnson is going really strong right now. He's the defending 2-time champion, and we can't put him out. Carl Edwards has had a great year, but until they show me they can outrun Kyle Busch week in and week out, then I've got to put him at the top.
I look at it just a little bit different. I see this sport's about momentum. I mean, it really is. And now you see the momentum shifting in the 48 camp right here last 2 weeks. And also, Jimmie Johnson has that trophy. He's the guy they got to take it away from, and I believe he's the guy really to beat. I know you're looking at Kyle Busch winning all these races, and he is leading the points going into this thing, but I still see it as Jimmie Johnson's the guy they have to beat to get it.
There's Jimmie Johnson, the 2-time defending champion. Yeah, Carl Edwards won at Las Vegas and at Texas on 1.5 miles, and Kyle won at Atlanta and Chicago. But this is the guy right here. Remember the chase a year ago? He won, what, 4 in a row and was just almost unbeatable.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that they've set this up to be a 3-team race right now. There are other guys, as we've talked, that can become a part of that, but they're going to have to show us that. When we go to Loudon next week, there's going to be Kyle Busch, Jimmie Johnson, and Carl Edwards that we're going to look at. And as you said, Andy, momentum is a great thing in this sport when you start getting it behind you.
And there's still some time for some momentum shifts. I mean, the 24 could get hot. We heard Kyle Busch say that. 24 could be a guy. Tony Stewart's definitely got the potential, and there's still time for that momentum to shift in their direction. So we'll see. But I still say it's Jimmie Johnson.
Well, Alan, a lot of emotion yet to play out here, and now the chase begins. 10 races to go, and a lot of different opinions on who's going to be good, but everyone believes that Jimmie Johnson is now the guy to beat.
Yeah, Doc, a lot of racing go this season, a lot of racing go today. Talking about championship, the IndyCar Series championship decided today at Chicago. It is on now, the Peak Antifreeze IndyCar 300. Scott Dixon, Helio Castroneves. Let's see, Dixon 8th or better gets it done. Castroneves, though, you can't count him out.
Castroneves can win the championship today if Dixon has a problem, and that's what they're gunning at.
Then later on tonight, 9 of the drivers that just finished running 400 laps here are going to strap back in with the rest of the field and run 250 more. The Nationwide Series race, postponed from Friday, will be run right here in Richmond.
We were wanting to see some racing under the lights. We're going to get to see it tonight.
That's right. And we wrap it all up on NASCAR now later tonight at 9:30 Eastern Time, talking about that IndyCar Championship race. Scott Dixon, Helio Castroneves separated by a mere 30 points going into the race, and Castroneves is leading the race right now.
Boy, when you're running second, you want to be leading to get all the points you can. They're lap 111 right now, and Castroneves leading.
So that's the IndyCars over on ABC. And again, the Nationwide Series race tonight here at 6:30 Eastern Time, ESPN2 from here in Richmond. Let's look ahead to New Hampshire next week. We had the race back there in June that was shortened by rain. Kurt Busch wound up winning it by playing a little strategy. But thinking back on that race and history at New Hampshire, is there someone that sticks in your mind that you really like to get this chase started well?
Yeah, I really do. Kevin Harvick kind of is the guy that I'm looking at right now. He has won there before Allen. He always looks good. He said he was looking forward going back to New Hampshire. And I really believe that team has got the short tracks, the flat racetracks figured out. He should be good there.
I'll tell you who I think it's going to be really good there would be Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton's always good at New Hampshire. I would pick him to be the guy to run up front. But I'm going to tell you right now, boys, Kyle Busch has them whooped. They're going to have to run that cat down. If he goes to New Hampshire and has a decent run, he'll dominate this thing the rest of the way.
And as far as some of these other guys at the backside of the chase seedings, the guys that haven't won yet this year, to me, agree or disagree and why, but it's critical for some of these guys to get on the board in these first couple of weeks.
Well, they got to get noticed. They got to get out there. We're talking about the top 2 or 3 guys all the time, it seems like, and they need a little loving too. But hey, talking about that, what about Clint Bowyer? Started this thing off, barely makes it in the 12th position. Now after reseeding, he's starting off 5th. From a nail biter to get in, now he's all the way up in there. We're going to be hearing a lot from Clint Bowyer, a lot.
It's Jimmy Johnson still taking victory photos here at Richmond as we begin now to look ahead to the race next Sunday in New Hampshire. Our coverage presented by GoDaddy.com, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. All of the races in the chase on ABC starting next Sunday, and we hope that you'll be with us from the Flat Mile in New Hampshire. Everybody's going to be on edge. It's going to be big.
Oh, it's going to be big. I mean, it's tight there. We're talking short track racing for the 2nd week in a row, Brad.
I think those boys on that 18 car have just been experimenting these past few weeks. I think they're going to bring the heat.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Lobster Town, baby.
One of these guys' cars looks like that next Sunday. Their championship's going to be off on a rather wrong-footed start, that's for sure. Don't forget, next coming up here on ESPN is bowling and the Nationwide Series race at 6:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. We're going to take a little break for dinner and then go racing again. Come on back.